regional plane and the Army helicopter that collided with it last week. Today, crews will look for more as they lift wreckage from the Potomac River.
On Sunday, some families of the victims visited the site for a private memorial coordinated by the NTSB. They've been getting regular briefings as the investigation unfolds, and there are outstanding questions, including about the helicopter's altitude. Data from the regional jet's flight recorder show the plane was at around 325 feet at the time of the crash.
Fox's Madeline Rivera at Reagan National. The helicopter isn't supposed to fly that high. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally, developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
The Morning Xtra, only on Xtra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug and Los, along with Board Up Captain Goey Virgin River. Monday morning, starting your work week. What's it out? It's like 42 outside, so it's doable. That means it'll warm up a little later. It's going to be a good day. I want you to know that Punxsutawney Phil, yesterday for Groundhog's Day, he saw a shadow. So 6 more weeks of winter. And before you go, well, he's way out there in Pennsylvania. What's that got to do with us?
Well, that's a liar, by the way.
Right.
Punxsutawney Phil is a liar.
17th most accurate of 19. I didn't realize there was 19 groundhogs doing this. I had no idea. But there also includes a prairie dog and a turtle.
General Beauregard is much better at this.
Okay, I agree with you. He's at 80%
but
accuracy.
At least you have somebody who's local, who's
right.
giving you some local information.
Down in Jackson, Georgia, where Beauregard is, we passed Jackson coming home from the ball game on Saturday.
Did you salute?
Oh, I didn't. I blew him a kiss, just blew him a little kiss. But so Beauregard Lee, 80% of the time gets his predictions right. He is the second most accurate of all the groundhogs, turtles, and prairie dogs that I threw my pen. Sorry, that predict weather, that prognosticate, as they say. Problem is, Beauregard Lee saw his shadow too yesterday, saying 6 more weeks of winter, which I was not a fan of. I thought maybe he should go back and reevaluate.
Well, that's fine. If Punxsutawney Phil says it, I'm not paying attention.
You discard it.
General Lee ends up pointing it out. You know, General Beauregard, anybody else who says, okay, here's what's going on, I go, now that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
And this is what I'm going with.
And his accuracy rate is at 80%. It's better than most meteorologists. Now, I will tell you that Staten Island Chuck did not see his shadow.
Who is Staten Island Chuck?
Exactly. That's why I bring it up. Who the hell's that?
Who is that?
He's a groundhog. They use him in Staten Island, and I don't believe him because I don't know who he is. It's hard to believe somebody.
Is it just creepy that everyone around the entire country uses groundhogs to try and figure out what's going on with the weather?
It's odd. I'll say that. Creepy. I'm not sure about creepy. Odd comes to mind more than creepy, but odd, yes, very odd. And I understand that it's some tradition that started 100 years ago, whatever. But yeah, they need to figure something else out. Maybe just break out the weather app.
It's going to be cold for a little bit longer. That's it. That's all.
I got to tell you,
that's how it's going to be.
This little box that I hold in my hand, called an iPhone. If you
and your phone,
if you pull up the little weather app, it'll tell you the weather. You don't even got to ask the groundhog. You don't even got to ask anybody. It's right there for you. Weather Channel, which is like 2 blocks, 2 hour. Would that be east? I guess. Is right over there. They feed me that information right there in a little box. I don't even got to ask a woodland creature.
It always comes right. I was concerning this woodland creature versus
Seriously,
these people
whose idea was this?
2 blocks down the road.
Seriously, who had the idea first? I've got a great idea. Let's ask this little groundhog what the weather's going to be like. How drunk do you have to be to come up with that plan?
It seems like it's creating tourism.
Maybe
it's creating tourism.
Yeah, maybe.
That's all.
Spending dollars.
That's fine.
Right. Yeah, look, I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad. It's great. Whatever. I just seems like a bad
it's
idea.
Just because of considering how much you hate winter.
Yes, right.
It just contributes to you hating winter even longer.
And I do. So anyway, aside from Punxsutawney Phil and Beauregard Lee, kind of equaling up this time.
I'm more interested in what happened with your weekend over in South Carolina.
Well, it was good. My son plays his first college baseball game. Saturday was in Swainsboro, Georgia, and then yesterday was in Sumter, South Carolina. They won both games in Swainsboro. Drove back to Sumter and then played 2 there. Lost the 2 home games, but Jacob played well. Yesterday hit really well. Almost hit a home run in the first home game.
Oh.
Dude, I'm talking the right fielder. His back was against the wall.
Oh, caught against the fence.
I mean, literally back against the wall. It had the height. It had everything, and it just whoop right down. It was so close. But nothing doing. But he went like 4 for 8 for the day. It was good.
There you go. I mean,
yeah,
500 is pretty good.
Had a double in there. Scored a couple runs. Took a couple bags. So yeah, he was satisfied with his performance. And you hope for a better outcome than split the doubleheader. But I guess it's better than losing 3 or 4 or getting swept.
Well, I was very simplistic about this because I joked around about it during last week. My very first pitch I threw in college baseball got hit for a grand slam. I was like, there's no way that your son can have a worse debut. And so I was glad to hear about, hey, he's fielding right.
Yeah.
He's hitting the ball right. We're good.
His first ever AB landed him a giant baseball-sized, bruise on his calf.
Because of a hit by pitch.
Yes, that's
all right.
In his first AB, he moves, he advances, whatever, and comes home, scores.
Well, that first AB, it's kind of an indication of what happened with marriage. So,
oh wow. Well, I hope not.
Keep an eye out.
Poor Emma. He
goes down that road. He's like, oh, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be painful. So you and your daughters were playing volleyball.
Yeah, we were over just across the street over at Cobb Galleria. They finished 3rd out of 16 teams. So
but they're playing up too.
Yeah, they were playing up. The 2 teams that ended up beating us actually played in the finals. So we felt pretty good about it. But it was a fun weekend of doing the whole volleyball thing and being in Cobb Galleria. And I will tell you this, and this is what I can promise you. Over at Murph's Sports Bar,
yeah, owned by Dale Murphy,
we drank all of the Sprite.
What? I thought you were going to say beer. I thought it was you and the dads, rolling over there between games or something. But no, not the beer, but the Sprite.
No, we drank all the Sprite.
Okay, got it.
So that went well. On Sunday, the bartender said, we have no more Sprite. And I'm like, yes, this is what we've done. All of the Sprite drinks we could possibly drink had been drank at that point.
We got a bronze medal.
I feel good about that.
We got a bronze medal
take our 3rd place, and we exhausted your entire bar of Sprite.
Took all the Sprite. Took the medal and the Sprite. That's what happens when you hang out with front office Los and his girls and wife and their friends.
Because everybody had to have some mixed drink with Sprite. And before we knew it, they're like, hey, we have no more Sprite.
Sorry, kids. Do they have at Murph's? I've only been there one time, and I loved it when we went. Do they have what is it called? The one that Coke makes, that big mixology thing, where you touch the buttons and you can mix.
No, actually, they have just a regular soda fountain like what we have here.
Oh, so you just do your own.
You just do your own thing. And that's a wild part about working here. There is a soda fountain here.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love it. Especially.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, here's when I love it the most. This is when it is the most valuable, at least to me, is like game day, Braves game day, whatever, and there's lots of liquor around here, and there's bottles everywhere. I mean, if you have a problem with it, it's not a good place to work. It's true. Because it's just everywhere.
If you're way too into alcohol, this would be a really difficult place
It
to show up
is,
to work.
but it is. I'm not lying. It is. It is a challenging place to work if you struggle with that because
It's kind of encouraged too.
well that because it's all it's make sure everybody's got drinks, make sure everybody's jovial, make sure you're showing everybody a good time. When advertisers come in and you're looking straight down at the right field gate, I mean, it's a cool place to work. And there's liquor everywhere.
And there's a whole lot of alcohol in this building on a regular basis.
That is when that Coke machine comes in the most handy. When they say, hey, you want a little nip of whiskey before you go into that game? I'm like, yes, I do.
Cut it in half.
Yes, that's right. Go
Take
cut
it down a notch.
That's right.
That's all.
That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. And it comes in so handy. And here's the other thing. Like, if you want to, you can go out in the Battery, and they're proud of their drinks in the Battery. So proud of them. So, I mean, they are proud of them. That's why they cost so much. But if you come up here, all you have to do is you can go out, hang around, go to the clubhouse store. You can go anywhere you want. Take in just the ambiance of the atmosphere of Truist Park. You come back up, pour you a little nip, get you a little hit of Coke, and right back out there, and you didn't spend nothing.
So this was yesterday afternoon, and I met these handful of families. They were from all across the Southeast, but one of them, they were from Nashville. They play for Alliance, which is a really cool program.
Okay, and Nashville's a great town.
And they were playing our top team in our age group. And they're like, so what can you tell us? I was like, drink more.
Because you're going to need it.
I was like, you're going to
drown your sorrows.
I was like, drink more. Right. And sure enough, as we ended up watching the match, it ended into so the team out of Nashville, it was a 15s team. They're like, so how good is this 14-year-old team? I go, good. Drink more. I was like, just keep taking more drinks. Yes. And so sure enough, and again, as we're hanging out and having a good time, he's doing the whole thing of like, so should I get another one? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Your Diet Coke and bourbon.
Yes.
Get another one.
Yes, that's right.
How it's gonna go.
So where did the top team finish? Did they win it all?
Yeah, they won their group, and they always play up. They always they that's what they do. But
which seems to be the whole organization because y'all do the same thing.
It's pretty much what happens.
It's the smart thing.
We were playing up. We were playing within our age group, but we were playing the open division. By the time we get to the qualifiers, we're going to end up playing teams that are not on our level. At least we're all on the same level, but we've been playing above where they're going to be playing.
And let me tell you, iron sharpens iron.
And that's the goal. Yeah.
I'm telling that, I think, of all the things that you've told me about A5 volleyball, and I know it's great. I know many families that have played over the years, but that seems to be the thing that stands out to me the most. They put you in competition to play better competition, the older competition, faster, stronger.
Until we get to the qualifying season, we always play tougher competition than we're going to see at the qualifier.
Because a lot of people fall into the trap, Los, and I know you've seen this before. It's probably not news to you, but maybe you listening might have never heard this before. That's what happens. Parents get so caught up in winning. We got to win. We got to win. We got to win. No. At the younger ages, take your lumps.
Nope. Keep
play
getting
up,
better.
Keep getting better. That way, when it does matter, and you're playing out of the world and you're jumping out of the gym and nobody else can keep up with you.
Well, it's like a muscle. As long as you are working at a level where you're doing more than you should be, the muscle keeps building.
Yeah, that's right.
And then by the time that you get to, all right, here's the easy stuff, here's the level we're supposed to be on, at that point, the muscle goes, hey, I'm pretty strong, and none of y'all can challenge me.
That's exactly right.
That's always the goal.
That's right. Absolutely. It's so much fun, man. God, I'm glad for a good weekend. What did you do this weekend? 404-741-1230. If you have stories like this, things you'd like to share about your kids, grandkids, whomever. Maybe something you did. Maybe you got wild crazy.
Or if you just want to tell Joe that you missed him during the weekend.
Could be that, too.
You're welcome to call and tell him.
Because I missed Joe over the weekend. Speaking of,
yes,
didn't you make dinner for Cassandra?
I did. I did make dinner.
How'd that go?
It went great. She came over to my house for the first time because the parents are out of town.
Oh.
Nice. Yeah, I felt like a high schooler being like, my parents are out of town. You want to come on over? I'll cook you dinner.
You're not 18 and you're not 16. Like,
what?
there's something weird about the idea of like, hey, why don't you come over to my house? My parents aren't here.
I know. It was very strange.
Yeah, I think you noticed.
But I cooked her chicken fettuccine Alfredo.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
She loved it.
Tasty, yeah. Did you get a kiss? Did you sneak a kiss?
Oh, I got a smooch or two.
Okay. All right.
Who knew?
Parents not home.
Parents not home. I'll give her a smooch. And the next day, she met my niece and nephew for the first time.
Which I know is a big deal for you.
It's a big deal for me. I love them. They're 4 and 2. And she was like, "Oh, let's go to Dunkin' and get them the little munchkins."
Oh, nice. See,
Okay.
I already like her.
You're winning their hearts. Do you know what you're getting into?
Yeah, seriously.
Well thought
And
of.
she was
I
like, they'll be fine. I'm like, they're gonna be
Bouncing off the
insane.
wall.
And they were insane. And my sister sent me photos of them taking a nap right after we left.
Yeah, just the sugar buzz wear off.
And Cassandra was like, they were a lot. I'm like, yeah.
I tried to tell you.
Bought them sugar.
It's called sugar.
Yeah, but I do love where her heart is, though. I like
Yes,
that. I like
absolutely.
Do you think how long are y'all 6 months into this relationship?
We're 4
4 months. Do you think she'll do Friday 9 o'clock with us?
No.
Why not?
Just curious.
She's got work.
Well, what about maybe earlier then?
Friday, like 7 o'clock.
I don't think she wants
We just
to.
talked about what's going on in her life.
I'll ask.
Well, fine then.
I just want to get down to the bottom of this.
Here's the deal. If you don't invite her on, we'll create her with AI and then say all kinds of weird things about you.
Okay.
Like we do the Zimmer.
I can either of these work for me.
I'm just telling you what Los is capable of. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've seen it up close and personal.
I will tell you.
You should already know.
I did meet a handful of good listeners through the weekend.
What?
And yes.
That's awesome. Okay.
And so the fun part about all of that was it reinforced the stereotype when it comes to my wife. My wife for years used to be like, why are you going to that bar? And I was like, I don't know, just having a drink, listening to the show, doing whatever. What about these women? And I was like, well, there's not really any women. It's just how it goes.
Which bar is she talking about? Good old days?
Yeah, or anywhere else.
Okay.
And then it wasn't until she tagged along with me a handful of times. She was like, you're right. Men 35 to like 65, all about your show.
Yeah.
It's like, and there's no women that are.
Well, that's not true. It's very few.
It's
though.
very few.
Yeah.
It's very few. So over the weekend, the amount of people that approached me, my wife was like, fits the demo.
Yes.
Here's how it goes. I was like,
She knows.
yes. I was like, yes. I limited amount of female groupies, 1 out of 100,000.
Yeah, that's right.
Men, 100,000.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. And we welcome any and all, though.
All of you. You're all
Absolutely.
welcome.
Ladies, we love you and couldn't do anything without you. I mean, it's so important.
Be a fan of Joe.
Yes.
Help Joe out.
I mean, look at that smile. He's a handsome devil.
Joe's making this like crazy sort of meal for his girlfriend
Cassandra.
of 3 months. If he messes that up, she's out.
Buddy, she's gone. But she must have been in.
I mean, if Joe gave her food poisoning, she's out.
Yeah, well, but he didn't, clearly, because we've heard about that, I feel like, unless he would have lied. But she did, hook up his niece and nephew, which I think is so kind and so sweet. I love that about her. That's my favorite thing about her so far.
I don't know if you're deserving of this, Joe.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, you may have outkicked your coverage.
I definitely did.
Okay, all right. So you'll probably blow it at some point, but I think...
No, I think you're going to do well. You're a very sensitive young man.
Thanks for the vote of confidence,
I'm
Doug.
kidding. You know I'm joking about that. It's just funny to say.
But if you do...
I told you so.
I'll come crying on your shoulder, Tug.
That's exactly right. And I'll
Tug told you.
I'll pet your hair and wipe your tears and things. All right, when we come back, our schools are failing. Angela Morabito knows how to fix these things. She worked in the Department of Education. She was the spokeswoman under Betsy DeVos, under Donald Trump in the first administration. Next, here on Extra 106.3.
Hey, it's Flounder, and The Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
Ty tweeted, I'd rather not entrust space travel to a guy who does a Nazi salute. To which EB responded by tweeting a pic of NASA rocket scientist Werner von Braun standing in front of models of his Saturn rockets with the caption, boy, do I have news for you.
An actual Nazi.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com. Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Hey, homeowners, it's Flounder, and I'm here to keep you warm. Well, I won't, but my friends at Dobbs Heating and Air will. As a new homeowner myself, I prefer working with local, family-owned companies who value what matters to me and treats my home like it's their own. The Dobbs family have a passion for what they do, and taking care of people is their primary goal. So if your home needs help staying warm right now, call Dobbs Heating and Air and experience the Dobbs difference. And check them out online at dobbshvac.com.
This is House Call for Health. February is American Heart Month. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the U.S., but the National Institutes of Health says it can often be prevented with a heart-healthy lifestyle, which can lead to reducing the risk and risk factors. First, be sure to get enough sleep. Adults should be aiming for 7 to 9 hours per night. Being consistent and going to bed and waking up at the same time each day can help. Also, trying not to exercise 2 to 3 hours before bedtime and avoiding caffeine and nicotine. They also recommend eating better, following a flexible and balanced eating plan, which can help lower high blood pressure and improve cholesterol. Trying to maintain a healthy weight. Choosing healthy snacks like fruits and veggies or nuts can help. Also, stay hydrated with water as your primary beverage. And one more tip for decreasing the chance of heart disease and stroke: stop smoking. Any amount can damage your heart and blood vessels. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health on Lisa Brady. Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning, it's Carlos Medina. Here are your headlines for February 3rd of 2025. From last night over at the Grammys, Beyonce has won Album of the Year tug for Cowboy Carter. Boo. The superstar, who is both the most awarded and nominated artist in Grammy history, has been up for the category 4 different times, and many of the times she has been snubbed. Over in Forsyth County, a community staple is reeling after a fire devastated and destroyed their business. This is big for us. BB's Bagels burned down just after 7 o'clock Sunday evening. Forsyth County fire units responded to the location at 770 McFarland Parkway. The Atlanta Hawks are back in action tonight as things are not going well for them. They are 22-27 on the year. They will be in Detroit, where they will take on the surprising 25-24 Pistons. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off. With your headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Our guest is Angela Morbido, and we're so glad to have you. She was spokeswoman for the Department of Education, a visiting fellow for the Independent Women's Forum, and wow, Los, she has been quite busy. Do you care to explain any of the things that you've been doing and how busy you've been?
Sure. So this is a very exciting time in education because the second Trump administration has hit the ground running. Education has gone from sort of over there on the side issue that it was maybe 8 years ago to now it is front page news. I mean, we've got Fox on in the studio, and the headline is Trump enacts federal school choice initiative. That headline is an answered prayer for millions of parents around the country, and it's something that our community as education advocates could have only dreamed of back in 2015 in the pre-Trump era.
Angela, I will tell you this. Angela Morbido is our guest right here on the Morning Extra. We've talked about the dream of school choice, and that it's, as Ted Cruz has put forward, this is like one of the biggest civil rights battles of our era. The idea that you can actually choose the schools that your kids would go to. How much of we taking kind of a step forward? Because albeit I'd like to see legislation that makes this happen outside of an executive order, but how much more of a step forward with this executive order has Trump moved us in that direction?
So this EO, I think of it as like the kickoff point, right? Where he said that the secretaries of Education and Health and Human Services now have a couple months to put together a plan for putting choice in the hands of parents. So a lot of it will depend on what incoming Secretary Linda McMahon can do. And as Tug alluded to just a minute ago, I had the honor of meeting her a couple weeks ago. I think she's going to be phenomenal. She is a school choice fighter, and she is fearless about doing what is best for students and families.
I love that, and the fact that you've already been up there. Did you go to D.C. to meet her?
I did.
It's obvious. I figured that was the case, but the thing when she was nominated, I'll be honest, I was just like, Linda McMahon from the WWE, the lady that was married to the man that does the WWE.
The same,
right? How in the world? What's the? Help people understand why she is such a bulldog for choice and why she's such a good pick for this role.
Sure. So she has a real education background. And by that, I mean not just a teaching credential from college, which is very impressive, of course, but also she has served on a state board of education. She spent more than a decade as a university trustee. She has seen all levels of education inside and out. And in her prior position at America First Policy Institute, which is where she was before joining the Trump cabinet, she helped advance school choice incredibly across the country. It was the 12 states a couple days ago, and as of last night, actually, Tennessee became state number lucky 13. So I would love for that number to be 50 very, very soon.
Absolutely right.
And I think she can help us get there.
I love that. You've been in D.C. Is there a calling? Do you feel like you'd like to go back? Is there an opportunity to go back? Is there anything that you might be, because you were involved in the first administration there at the Department of Education? Is that something that could potentially happen again?
So it's what I would call a definite possibility.
Okay.
I have no big news yet,
okay.
But I have been talking to some folks who are part of that team, both in education and outside of education, who are staffing the next administration. And I can honestly say I don't think there's ever been a presidential transition like this one, because he came in so ready. Just look at the speed with which he announced the cabinet nominees. It's easy for me to forget that that's not normal. And he is not building the airplane as he's flying it.
Like last time. Because last time it was a little bit like
totally, and that's what most incoming presidents do. He's had 4 years to prepare and 4 years of a team helping him prepare. So when we see this huge slate of executive orders that just comes flying out the door in week 1.5, effectively, I guess it's not exactly week 1 anymore, but when you see things happen so fast, you realize this stuff has been in the hopper for 4 years, and that's why he's able to do it so quickly.
Angela Morbido is our guest right here on the Morning Extra, and I have to ask you, Angela, do you have any little bit of FOMO? Like, are you kind of itching to be like, get me back in D.C. Here's where I can make an impact. Here's where I can get after some stuff and make a change. Obviously, with as passionate as you are and your work in the previous Trump administration, I have to imagine that you're kind of looking at this thing and going like, if you give Angela another shot at this thing, I can get some stuff done.
So A little bit. I guess you could say there's a little bit of FOMO. Georgia is always going to be home, but in a larger sense, I honestly don't feel like I'm missing out because I've had the honor of being part of so many conversations about what this next administration could look like from an education standpoint. So
we talk about it a lot, Lo. She's actually talking to people that actually are involved, people that can make a difference. You and I talk about it. She is being part of it.
I'm very honest about this, Angela. So, Tug wears jeans. I wear shorts. When you wear shorts, you have no power, no influence, no real ability to do anything. You are always somebody
dressed to the nines.
Exactly.
Again, this morning, too, by the way. If you see her on YouTube, you'll understand.
That's why you're in charge and I am not, Angela.
Oh, gosh. I don't know. There's the whole Senator Fetterman.
Yeah, with the basketball
going
short thing. There is that.
Thank you. Yes, the slovenly look. I'm glad that you compared me there.
There's representation for the shorts-wearing community.
That's right, which exists. That's a real part of the community.
I think the government might run a lot better if there were more people in jeans and shorts calling the shots. Because the men in suits have not done a bang-up job.
No, they have not. They will let you down every stinking time and have continued to do that. Let's talk about the information that came out, the research that came out, that 8th graders, I think it was 1 in 3, are functionally illiterate.
That is the new Nations report card, and it is a failing report card in terms of 4th and 8th grade math and reading. This is a national state of emergency, and you see people who try to defend what we've got going on right now by saying, oh, well, some of the numbers ticked up slightly, especially in math. Well, yeah, the average might be okay because people at the top of the heap are doing pretty well. But what they miss with that is that the bottom has fallen out of American education. And if you were at the 10th or 25th percentile 20, 30 years ago in education, you might have been doing okay. You weren't doing great, but you were okay. If you're there now, those scores have cratered. So that's how we get to a point where 1 in 3 public school 8th graders in this country cannot create meaning from words on a page.
No.
Yeah, it's awful. And I feel horrible for these students. I also feel awful for these teachers. Because you imagine being a 9th grade history teacher, and for your entire career, you've been able to put a textbook in these kids' hands, and they've been able to do something with it. You try that now. On a national level, for 1 in 3 students, that doesn't work. On a more local level in the big cities, sometimes for half of your students, that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's insane. Those numbers are absolutely insane, and it's so frightening. And I'll tell you, I can't remember if I've told you the story or not. When my son went through orientation for his freshman year of College of Charleston, they, as part of the presentation, they were talking about the remedial classes in case you need remedial classes for math and reading at the college level. We provide remedial classes. I don't know how you get into college if you can't read and write and do math. So the fact that the college sees this as an issue and knows it's an issue so much that they make it part of their introduction to college life, that was the dagger for me that said something has to change. And maybe with Linda McMahon and Donald Trump at will, school choice is important, getting DEI and CRT and all that crazy stuff out so kids can focus on the things that actually matter. That's an important step, but we got so much work to do. Does that include maybe axing the DOE altogether and sending that back to the states no different than we did, Ro?
I think so for sure, because the Department of Ed is a failed experiment. Our education numbers now don't look, hardly any better than they were when the department was created. It spends upwards of $80 billion a year. You've got 4,400 federal bureaucrats working there, and they educate 0 students. So if we were to take all the money that instead gets filtered through a giant bureaucracy and instead grant it to the states, what if parents had access to that money to say, if you want to send your kid to a different school, here's a pile of money to help you do that. And then instead of having your kids' education tax dollars flow to a building they may never set foot in, we're going to have that kid effectively wear it like a backpack and take it wherever they learn best. Really interesting, in the new Nations report card, Catholic schools are outpacing everywhere else.
I saw that, the percentage of Catholic schools in And just in new students, and enrollment is through the roof.
Yes.
Because everybody's looking for something different. They're looking for, I think, not different actually. They're looking for some place to be successful for their kids.
Exactly. Same with homeschooling.
I guess that is different.
It's also true. I saw somebody on Twitter who said that she was having to learn math along with her homeschooled kids, and everybody jumps all over her for this and is like, well, why are you homeschooling if you don't know math? Shouldn't your kids be in a public school? And she wrote back and says, no. Where do you think I didn't learn math?
It's exactly right.
She wanted something better for her kids, and she made that happen through homeschooling. There are thousands of moms like that, and dads too, who are saying the status quo doesn't work for us. We're going to stop pretending that it's acceptable, and we're going to do something different.
Angela Morbido is our guest right here on the Morning Extra, and I want to ask you about this because it was a controversy, 2-3 weeks ago about the number of work visas that were being put out there and the amount of people that were coming from overseas. But I think so much of this, Angela, is linked to we are not doing well in our schools in math and science. We're having to import people that are better at math and science. And I don't know if we're ready to have that serious argument and that serious discussion that we've spent the better part of 30 years not doing well at this. So we're having to find other people to bring from overseas to do this sort of technical work.
Yeah, the H-1B visa debate would be really different if people looked at our education system and went, wait a second, why can't we grow our own here?
Absolutely.
Because the whole conversation of, do we let more people in from overseas? Who do we allow in from overseas? What kind of jobs should we have them doing? Where should we grant these visas? All of that is underpinned by the assumption that Americans cannot be trained to do these jobs.
Or on the flip side, aren't willing when it comes to other people being let into the country.
Right. You look at some of these nation's report card scores and you see cities where the proficiency rates in math and reading are under 10%. I don't think they have under 10% of their students who are interested in learning to do math and read at a high level. Goodness. I think they're letting these kids down. So right now there's probably the next Elon Musk, the next Vivek, the next, name your favorite genius, right? The next one of those is probably sitting in a classroom somewhere and they might not be getting the education they deserve. That to me is a tragedy.
Yeah, it is. And like Ted Cruz said, and Los brought it up, that being the civil right of today, yes. Because our kids do deserve that. I think every kid deserves it. Like, there's not many things in the world, Angela, and Los knows this about me. There's not many things that I think you deserve. Like, I think you can earn anything.
Yes.
I think you can earn a job, a living. You can earn respect. You can earn all kinds of things. There's not many things that I'll say you are owed. And I feel like we owe, and I mean that as a parent, not as a government. Mm-hmm. As a parent, I owe my child the ability to get a good education. And because they're young, they don't realize when they're going through it. I didn't realize it, how important it was. It's not until you live life a little while do you understand that importance. But where the government does come in is uncuffing parents.
Yes.
To give them that opportunity to have their kids get that education, just like you're talking about, that school choice, whatever it is, homeschooling, private school, I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's a homeschool group. And it's so funny, the example you brought up of somebody having to relearn math. Me and my wife had to relearn math too when our kids were going through public school.
Yep.
Because of the Common Core, whatever it was, that seemed to be a complete failure too. We're always learning. You're always having to go back and relearn. There's all kinds of things that you will do in your first job that you won't do for 10 years. And then 10 years down the road, you'll have to pick up that skill and dust it off and use it again. It's the same way in education.
Completely. And there has been this reaction against testing. And of course, nobody loves the idea of being tested. No student loves the idea of going to school. And instead of getting to work on projects and read or hang out with their friends.
Test some pressure.
It's pressure. Nobody wants to be filling in those Scantron bubbles. And the teacher unions hate it the most because they know these students can't pass. So they have fought against testing, really any kind of measurement, every step of the way. Well, there is one really great bright spot on this nation's report card, and it's Louisiana. Okay. Louisiana scores had an absolutely incredible improvement, especially in reading. And how did they do it? Well, in kindergarten through third grade, they test all their students 3 times a year, which for me, that's eye-popping. I don't think there's a single other state that tests that often. But this means that if you are struggling to read or write, they're going to catch it really quickly. It's not, oh, well, maybe you just had a bad testing. No, we're testing you 3 times a year in those early years to make sure that you can read and write really well. They also offered vouchers for eligible families, got $1,500 towards targeted reading and math help.
Goodness.
So it wasn't just we're going to send you home and say you got a problem. It was we're going to give you help to do that. They also trained, I think, 300 specialized literacy coaches, which aren't there to coach the students, they're there to coach the teachers. And they embedded them in schools and said, we're going to make sure every school has somebody who is a powerhouse in getting kids to read. So the Louisiana miracle, quote unquote, it's not that miraculous. These are really predictable outcomes of doing smart things. And I hope
if you exercise, you'll be healthy.
Yes, I hope every state school chief is learning from Louisiana.
See, that's the thing, as we wrap up with Angela, is that Trump would like to kick it to the states. And there's an example of a state getting it right. And all the states, if they're willing to, could get it right, too.
It's a wonderful lesson.
There you go. Angela Morabito, we appreciate you being here. Gosh, it's always a pleasure to have such an expert in the field. And you can find her at Angela Morabito on Twitter, now called X. 6 o'clock hours brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. When we continue the tariff war explained. You won't get this in the mainstream media or at a mainstream outlet, but you will on Xtra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
2 monster trades happened over the weekend in the NBA. The first happened on Saturday with 5-time All-Star and 5-time All-NBA 25-year-old guard Luka Doncic was traded to the LA Lakers for 9-time All-Star and 2020 NBA champion 31-year-old power forward Anthony Davis. The second trade happened yesterday in a 3-team deal that sent 29-year-old shooting guard Zach LaVine to the Kings and 27-year-old point guard De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. Both having great seasons, with LaVine averaging 24 points a game and Fox averaging 25. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
Why shop for Valentine's Day at D. Geller & Son Jewelers? Because you don't want to end up like shouldn't have case number 735.
Hey, sweetheart, I got you something for Valentine's Day.
Oh.
I went in a new direction this year. I think you're going to love this. Go ahead, open it.
Oh, wow. A new vacuum.
Not just any vacuum. This thing has a 500-watt motor, comes with multiple attachments, and it has 4 suction modes. So you'll never have to sleep again.
Wow, honey, you really shouldn't have.
A vacuum might save her from sweeping, but jewelry from D. Geller & Son will sweep her off her feet. This Valentine's Day, give a treasure, not a chore, with a beautiful piece of jewelry from D. Geller & Son. Like diamond hoops starting at $875, tennis bracelets starting at $15.15, and diamond studs starting at just $190. Save up to 20% with our Valentine's gift guide, or go big and get 0% APR financing for 5 years. Take the risk out of shopping this Valentine's Day at D. Geller & Son, making her sparkle, not her floors, since 1939. In Kennesaw, Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
Military veterans are eager to transfer their skills and experiences to civilian life, but lack trusted connections to expedite their path to success. The civilian world can be confusing, and veterans do not need to journey through it alone. When you reach out to the Warrior Alliance, we will guide you to the best-in-class resources that can lead you toward renewed purpose after serving our nation. Find out why thousands of warriors have found success after service after engaging with the Warrior Alliance. For assistance, go to thewarrioralliance.org or call 404-210-1776.
It's cold in Atlanta right now, but spring is on the horizon. Want to see me and my friends over at 680 The Fan take a plunge? Well, your donation will decide. It's the 2025 Polar Plunge to support Special Olympics Georgia. From now until February 16th, just go to SpecialOlympicsGA.org and make a donation on behalf of our friends at 680 The Fan. If we raise $2,500 or more, I'm taking the plunge at Ackworth Beach on February 22nd. And all donations go to support Special Olympics Georgia. Donate now at SpecialOlympicsGA.org and click on the Polar Plunge link.
When it comes to protecting your assets and ensuring peace of mind, trust the expertise of Nelson Eldercare Law. Our Absolute Protection Trust is designed to provide unparalleled asset protection. Visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com to discover how our specialized services can safeguard your family's future and assets, offering you the assurance you deserve. NelsonElderCareLaw.com.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
This is Poll Paris with Fox News Director of Polling, Dana Blanton.
The new administration is making a lot of changes. Since his inauguration, Donald Trump has signed dozens of executive orders on everything from diversity programs to international trade and foreign policy. Also, lots happening on immigration, with immigration agents making more than 1,000 arrests on a single day last week. These actions were foreseeable. Trump frequently talked about what he wanted to do on day one, and voters wanted change. Our Fox News Voter Analysis election survey found that more than half wanted substantial change in how the country was run. Another quarter went even further, seeking complete and total upheaval. That's more than 8 in 10 wanting major change, including 7 in 10 Democrats and 9 in 10 Republicans. We'll learn over the next months whether voters like the changes they're seeing, as the survey also showed the economy as the top issue priority for voters of all stripes. I'm Dana Blanton, and that's your Poll Paris.
The Morning Extra from 6 to 10. Glenn Beck until noon. Clay and Buck from noon to 3. And The Kimmer Show on your ride home from 3 to 6. Plus Jesse Kelly from 6 to 9. And Jimmy Vela from 9 to midnight. The voices you need all day with the conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
And we're glad to lead the show this morning, leading into Beck, into Clay and Buck, into The Kimmer Show. Tug and Los, along with Board Up Goey Virgin River. I got you, babe. This is for Cassandra, I feel like. Is this a Cassandra phone?
Yeah, I got her. She's got me.
Oh, see, look at there, Los. Continuing on our conversation a little bit earlier before.
This guy should have a parade. Because there's nothing more gay than a parade.
And
that's
Joe.
fine. I mean, I've been married 18 years. I know these things.
Dude, we're creeping up on 24.
I know. Pretty impressive.
In April. God, 24 years. How time goes by. And I have a hard time wrapping my head around it.
Do you ever think she's just going to say, like, at 25, she's like, all right, we got to 25.
I can't put up with you anymore.
Yeah, and I want to do my own thing now.
It's look, and I would nothing would shock me anymore because the world's crazy. Now I don't anticipate that happening.
Kids are out of the house. Yeah. It's now time.
Absolutely.
I want to spread my wings.
Yeah, I'm tired of you and tired of your
backhand.
Yes, that. Well, probably not
your angry demeanor.
Yes, right. Because I get very angry very quickly. Y'all know that.
She's decided, all right, doing my own thing now.
Yeah, seriously, I'm tired of you. No, I don't expect it. We go to church together and things.
Oh, okay.
Everything
evens out at that point.
That's right. It shields us a little bit. No, it really does. I think it does. But I guess we'll have to see. Are you concerned about like when 20 creeps up that Allison may just be
she might hit that point of just saying, I've had it. I'm tired of you.
Enough.
We did this.
Enough.
And I would just go like this. Well, makes some sense. Okay.
I can't argue with you.
Makes sense.
I love you. I can't argue with you.
Although, things are good. Things are good now. Things have been good for a while. Things have been good for 20 years.
Yeah.
21, she might be like, all right, it's time for something different.
Sick of this. Two people that I've been friends with for years that aren't in my very close circle anymore, but used to be, are both getting divorced right now, and it seems to be they waited until the kids were out of the house, and both of them, both in different states, one in Florida, one in Texas.
Well, that's the reason why, as of now, and I'm not saying that this is the only reason, but this is the reason why that we have sweet Joe Virgin River living at home.
That's the reason, because people get divorced.
If he leaves the house.
Oh, I see. Do you expect that to be the case, Joey?
I hope not.
Yeah, well, me too.
I'll stay, Mom. I'll stay, Dad.
I'll save the
for
relationship.
Y'all.
I'll save the marriage. I love it.
I'm the backbone of their relationship.
I'm the backbone of your relationship.
You're the super glue holding it all together. I love it. All right. Tariffs. You're going to see a lot. I mean, you probably already did this weekend. Seen a lot about tariffs. And the mainstream media are going to do their very best to scare you to death. Pay them no mind. Because even Obama economists have said This is not that big a deal. Los, you can explain it, though.
I'm not even going to leave it to me. I'm going to leave it to a guy who ended up posting a video, which he kept this very simple. And by the way, the faces he's making are hilarious because every single time he makes a point, he has this giant face of like, ha ha, I told you. All right. So the joke that I had is this is real life. Big bank take little bank. All right. Like from 30 years ago, Ice Cube told you. Sometimes somebody bigger swallows you up. A scenario where I got more money than you, I'm in charge of this. The United States economy, when it comes to dealing with these tariffs, are looking at Mexico and Canada and basically telling them, you are nowhere near us. We can absorb any kind of financial issue. So if we want to put tariffs on you, you've got to fix what's going on with your economy, and you've got to fix what's going on with your border security. So I want you to take a listen. This man ends up explaining very simply the numbers when it comes to what's going on in the whole tariff game.
Hey, you liberal fruitcakes. See a lot of you crying over tariffs, saying it's going to destroy the economy. Want to look at trade economics? First, a tariff is a tax imposed on a country's imported goods and services. The United States only imports 15% of goods and services internationally. The rest is domestic. Now, a lot of you are concerned about what's happening with Canada and Mexico. Well, you remember that 15% I talked about? Canada and Mexico only produce 5% of that. That means between both of them, they only produce 5% of the United States GDP. So guess what? This trade war is going to turn both of those places into a third world country, although Mexico already is one. Now, the reality is we don't want that. But the United States is tired of being taken advantage of by the countries who are refusing to pay their fair share. And we all know you guys want fair share. And tariffs are a way of achieving that. Now, let's look at Canada. 20% of the GDP of Canada comes from the United States trade agreements. And 75% of their trade happens with the United States. Now that means if prices go up because of imported goods from Canada, Americans are going to refuse to buy them. Meaning, Canada's not going to make any money. And as we're 75% of their trade, that's going to be detrimental to their economy. And Mexico doesn't even remotely have a leg to stand on, with 40% of their GDP tied into American export. Now, I know you're going to say that Canada's threatened to turn off power to Americans. Well, we'll just raise the tariff. They're not going to turn it off. Do you know why? Because Canada's utilities is $55 billion in debt, which means they can't afford to turn off the United States' power. Now, you're going to say that other countries are going to stop trading with America. Well, they only make up 10% of the GDP of the United States.
All right, that's a perfect point that he's making. The rest of the world cannot afford to stop trading with the United States. Right. Otherwise, their economies fall apart.
Dude, it's so clear how this is going to play out.
And by the way, I like how he's like,
veto. He reminds me of, it reminds me a little bit of Will Ferrell when he was doing the Harry Carey impression. Harry Carey. It's what it reminded me of.
It is. It's very much so. And it always ends on a high.
Yeah.
Harry Carey here's the team.
Yes, exactly right. The tariffs are going to screw them, not us. This is great, you know? But anyway. But he's not wrong.
No, he's going through the core numbers are all correct.
And let me tell you, Mexico's economy is on the cliff to begin with, as is China's. That's the one that don't get discussed as much. Although, and I don't know the reason yet, I expect we'll find it out at some point. You're doing 25 against Mexico, 25 against Canada. Fine with it. Doesn't bother me at all. But you're only doing 10% against the Chinese economy. That one does throw me a bit of a curveball.
Well,
I'm trying to figure that out.
We have a ton of goods that come in from China. So, yeah, we're going to make our money on those. But if you walk in to your regular Walmart, Target, wherever else you do the shopping, and you will buy an item and think, okay, cool, I finally got that item. Typically, it's made in China.
Yes, there's no doubt. And then you have those websites like Temu and whatever the others are that you can buy stuff so dirt cheap because it's made with slave labor. There's a loophole that basically says if you sell things under $800, there's no tariff for you. So that's why that cheap stuff gets into the United States.
Yep.
And so that loophole is being closed as well. So now Temu and those websites like that are Chinese, They don't have that ability. So they're going to start cinching that up, closing that up, and the Chinese are going to go, OS. We're in some trouble, y'all.
Because the Chinese are basically Walmart. I mean, go into a Walmart, go look at what is out there and available for you, and the people that buy it by the millions. It is a Chinese product. It's a Chinese good. It's part of what keeps them afloat and allowed to, whenever they hit a recession point and they go, oh my God, things are really bad, the peasants are going to rise up against us. They have to make sure and keep them fed. As long as they keep the people fed, everything's good with the CCP.
When we come back on Extra 106.3, Trump is going to nuke the deep state, and it starts with USAID. Next, after a Fox News update on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
By the way, for the record, screw the TikTok. Too bad if your children will hate you the rest of your life. It's a Chinese spy agency. Why should we allow it? Duh. My God. I mean, isn't it that simple, really? Even the Chinese will not allow the TikTok app in China. All right, let me say that again. The Communist Chinese Party will not allow TikTok in China.
Balance the scales here. What's worse? The Chinese military owning and operating that and spying on us by using it.
Yeah,
or demonic American popular culture being sent over to China.
Yeah, oh my God. Well, let's see if I can't decide. I just can't decide.
It's a lose-lose, I think.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P-shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com.
With over $1 trillion in interest payments, the government is borrowing money just to pay the interest. That isn't going to change. The financial system is under a pressure it cannot sustain. And the hard truth is, you are responsible for your retirement. And you have to get prepared. Because if you don't, there are consequences, and the consequences are not going to be kind. This isn't about fear. I don't want to scare you. It's about reality. And if you're not making moves to protect and prepare, you're leaving your retirement to chance. And hope is not a strategy. It's time to act. Before the markets start to act up, own some gold. If you want to know why gold could be your best performing asset in 2025, call Lear Capital today at 800-889-3070 for your free $4,200 gold report. See why gold could be headed for record highs in 2025. Call 800-889-3070 and ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. 800-889-3070.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. The oldest member of the Senate is 91-year-old Iowa Republican Chuck Grassley. He's now the Senate President pro tem, the most senior member of the majority party, fourth in line to the presidency, and chairman of the Judiciary Committee. That means that President Trump is banking on Grassley to tackle immigration and border security, weeding out the so-called deep state, confirming his nominees for the federal bench, and maybe ushering a Supreme Court justice to confirmation should a vacancy occur. That's why some Senate Republicans privately question whether Grassley is the right person for the job, too old to execute the president's agenda. The conversation about age and politics is an old one, but it's amplified after questions about the mental acuity of President Biden. For instance, former Appropriations Committee Chairwoman Kay Granger now lives in an assisted living facility. There were health problems for former Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Grassley won an 8th Senate term in 2022, but he also had hip surgery in 2023, and he was hospitalized for an infection in 2024. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
The Trump tariffs go into effect tomorrow. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and the president admits
You may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that. But long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world.
Fox Business Network's Lydia Hu reports
imports from Canada and Mexico will face a 25% tariff, with Canadian energy facing a 10% levy, and imports from China will have a 10% tariff. Some warn that these tariffs could mean higher prices for consumers.
Mexico and Canada are vowing to retaliate. A contender to be Canada's next prime minister, Chrystia Freeland, tells CNN it's
utter madness. It is a betrayal of America's closest friend, of your ally, your neighbor, your best partner in the whole world.
New Interior Secretary Doug Burgum just told Fox.
This isn't a trade war with Canada or Mexico or China. This is about fentanyl. I mean, we've had mass invasion of our country, and we've been taking mass casualties.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will go to the southern border today in Texas as the Pentagon assists the Trump mass deportation of illegal immigrants who've committed crimes or are considered safety threats. Days after that mid-air collision, Fox's Madeline Rivera reports from Reagan National Airport.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says they're going to start lifting the aircraft as soon as first light comes up. They're then going to take the pieces that they recover, put it onto a flatbed trailer, bring it on over to a hangar where those pieces can then be investigated.
They'll look for more bodies, too. 55 of the 67 people killed when the American Airlines regional jet and Army helicopter crashed have been recovered from the Potomac River. They handed out the Grammys last night, paying tribute to victims and first responders in the deadly Los Angeles wildfire disaster. Firefighters gave out the Album of the Year award on CBS to Beyonce.
I just feel very full and very honored. It's been many, many years.
Beyonce's Cowboy Carter also won Country Album of the Year. Kendrick Lamar won 5 Grammys, including Song and Record of the Year for Not Like Us. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally, developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
You may know Bortz is back, but not everyone else does. Tell anyone who loves America, Bortz is back on the radio in Atlanta, and his new home is Extra 106.3. Listen to him now on the Extra 106.3 app.
Tug and Los on the Morning Extra until 10. Thank you for being here. 404-741-1230 is the number, at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms.
When you listen to The Darkness, do you just not wait for this song and you're like, all right.
Hard not to, man.
Pump me up a little bit.
God, love it. Turn it up. May as well. 3, 2, 1, go.
Such a great song.
It is a great song. I have to admit, though, I didn't get it when it first came out. I didn't get it.
Oh, the minute I heard it, I was like, oh.
You're in for it. I wasn't. I was like, this is terrible. What is this? And then I was like, oh, wait. This isn't terrible at all.
Great song.
This is wonderful. Yeah. So a super fun song. No question about it. The Darkness is so good. Darkness. So good. Darkness. So funny from Chappelle's Show. If you know, you know. USAID. Here's the thing about them, that most people think that it is United States aid, giving aid, helping. But it does not mean that at all. It means the United States Agency for International Development. See the very, very, very different meanings in those two.
We did a segment on this weeks ago where we talked about how USAID, USAID, part of what happened in Ukraine was they got involved in regime change. And it is a front. It is an organization that is based on dictating what goes on around the world in the interest of American policy. And that's fine. That's part of what we do. That's how it goes. The issue that we're running into, and that Doge is after, and the rest of the country is after, we talked about how so many of their tools ended up being turned on the homeland from 2016 on.
Like the $53 million that were funneled or was funneled to EcoHealth Alliance. Maybe like that taxpayer funds for gain of function research, if I could speak this morning, on coronaviruses at the Wuhan lab.
And that's just one thing.
That's just one.
That's just one of their fingers in the pot.
Because they got a budget of $50 billion with a B, $50 billion.
And so, and we talk about what happens. So we're entering into week 3, Donald Trump presidency. If you're going after USAID, USAID, man, you are trying to dismantle the deep state. You are trying to make sure that those weird, corrupt organizations are not able to influence power around the world.
And yet, that is their main goal. That's what they are out to do. That's what they're going to do. And it doesn't matter that it's at the detriment of the United States of America. And you heard that all weekend long talking about this because the administration has basically said, we are going after these fools. We are going to fix it. And as I read it this weekend, like 98% of people employed by USAID are leftists, are communists, are Democrats. They do not want that to be dismantled. They are going to fight it tooth and nail. They are burrowing in the federal government and saying, we are not going to roll over. We are not going to listen to Donald Trump, and we are not going to support his mission.
So if you would consider Scott Presler to be a patriot.
Yes.
I mean, this is a guy who he's a gay American, and he made it a point. I'm registering voters throughout the Northeast, most notably through Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And he helped deliver the election for Donald Trump. He had a wish list. Like, all right, here are the things that I want to go ahead and see done. And again, because he put the work in, he gets to have a wish list. When you go through it, the first one is gun rights. All right, cool. That totally works. Then build the wall. Again, aid in helping out the U.S. Patrol, U.S. border agents over on the southern border. Number 3 was defund USAID.
Knowing exactly what they did and knowing what they stood for.
And knowing what they're about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Knowing how they can wreck society based on their information, based on their money. And that was one of the first things. He's like, if you do these things, oh, by the way, get rid of this organization.
Go back to September 12th, 2023. CIA tried to pay off analysts to bury the findings that COVID was lab leaked. That was from a whistleblower. So you see what's happening, right? You see the filth. They don't want you to know the information. They work extremely hard to keep you from knowing what actually happened. You knew it. We talked about it on this show. We've been talking about it for years on this show. I'm not trying to...
Let's toot our own horn.
I'm not trying to do that, though. But
we got a bunch of conspiracy theories, and most of them have turned out to be correct.
100%, dude. And I'm not the smartest guy in the room ever. Ever am I the smartest guy in the room. But my common sense tells me when something doesn't add up, you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. What they're telling me does not make sense. Why is the addition not working? And when you start just listening to your gut, you can't go wrong. Your gut ain't going to mislead you.
Well, this was the issue that we ran into with USAID, is that when we talk about they brought it home, they were concerned about a populist message. They were concerned about a unifying aspect that at the time was Donald Trump. And so they, in their mind, was anything that hurts populism, anything that hurts Trump is in their best interest.
Is worthy.
And so they were, the operations that they were doing around the world, they turned it on here. And so if you start to look at the numbers of what they were spending, what they were trying to do, their entire plan was Donald Trump is the person that can hurt the deep state the most. We have to fight back at it right now.
Yeah, and they continue to do that to this moment. That's the thing that Donald Trump made the error in the first administration because he didn't realize when he became president, it wasn't like a business where everybody says, okay, here's the new boss. We're doing what the new boss says. Like if your company that you work for was bought out today and the new boss said, you know what, we're going to back up being at work by 30 minutes. I know you usually get here at 9. We're going to back that up to 8:30. Just something that we see as productive.
Been trying to work this out for years now here.
And they would say, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to burrow in. We're going to stand our ground. We're not going to do that.
I pulled into the parking lot this morning at 5:35 and thought, if only I had an extra half hour.
I'd be in better shape. But that's the thing. The first Trump administration operated like that. They're like, here's what we're going to do. And little did they know that no one was going to comply. This time around, they're well versed in what the deep state is able to do, and the amount of people pushing back against you is going to cause major issues. They're not falling for that this time. What are they doing? They're going in and cutting people left and right from the CIA, from the FBI, from all across the entire federal government, which I voted for. That's what I want to see, and I love seeing MSNBC and CNN and these people melt down because Trump said, here's what we're going to do, and if you don't like it, take a ride.
Well, it's a multifaceted attack. And we talk about how this is all spaced out in a point where Donald Trump could have done this day 2 of his administration. He chose not to. He could have done this a week in. He chose not to. What he chose to do is, here's some policies. Here's what we're doing. Oh, by the way, this is an organization that has outlasted its usefulness based on what they've been doing around the world. So what are we going to do? Let's drown them.
Yeah,
we're going to take the money. We're going to take the funding. If y'all are this committed to it, well, then you find a way to work here.
The Bill Gates Foundation was awarded $30 million to USAID. A guy that worked...
Oh, I'm sure it was to build housing somewhere.
Yes, I'm sure. Right. Yeah, his nonprofit. I don't trust Bill Gates as far as I can see him, and you shouldn't either. Is his product Microsoft ingrained in everything we do? Yes, which is probably not for the best, but it's just the way it is. We're going to have to figure out a way to wean ourselves off of it. I would like to see it. Probably never happen, but I would love to see it. Just Microsoft collapse. Never going to happen, but I would love to see it. But the point is, if they're giving if they're giving Bill Gates $30 million, that automatically throws up a red flag for me because I don't trust him. I don't believe that he's doing what's best for the American people with the money that he was given by USAID. So when they say we're not doing that anymore, sign me up. I'm all for it.
It's awkward that I look at Bill Gates, somebody that, especially in my youth, we were all like, oh, another application, another Windows. Remember, you had it's DOS 3.1. You had it on a floppy disk, and then it turned into here's what Windows are, and then it just kept growing from there. That man comes across now as a Bond villain.
Yes, he does.
Like he is out there trying to get exactly what he wants, and for the most part, none of it is in the interest of America.
And it will not, that I know of, or that I can comprehend or see happening. It will never be in the best interest of America. So I love the fact that they are digging deep. They are just blowing up the federal government, shrinking it at every opportunity, changing it at every opportunity. It's exactly what I voted for, and I hope it continues.
And that's the other part about it, too, by the way, Tug, is that the amount of people that are complaining and pointing out, well, did you vote for this?
Yes.
Yes, I did. Me and Tug, this is what we voted for. This is what we made it a point. We're like, it's going to be painful. It might even be hard at certain times, but this is what has to happen. And so every single day when I get my, report from ICE, I'm like, good, you got a handful more people out of here.
What are like 7,800 so far? 7,800 people have been deported? Yeah. Probably more now. I think that was it was either Saturday or yesterday that I read 7,800. So it could be even more already. Yes, it's exactly what I voted for, and yes, I want to see Trump dismantle the federal bureaucracy, the swamp. I want to get rid of all of it. I want to shrink the government to the point where it does exactly what it's supposed to do: protect the borders and get out of my way. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm hoping for. When it comes to tariffs, Mexico, Canada, China, these are promises that he made as a candidate, and I support every one of them. It's what I voted for. Do I think there will be some pain, like Los is talking about? Maybe. It could be. Could be a little pain. But I keep seeing people talk about the price of eggs. I never heard them for 4 years talk about the price of eggs. I never heard them complain about it once. I heard them tell me I was wrong for actually noticing how expensive they were. And now, all of a sudden, you see the entire mainstream media focused on the price of eggs and the price of gas. And to be honest, I can't tell a big difference in them. From 6 months ago to right now, I can't tell a big difference.
It's an elastic scenario. If you're unaware with how this stuff works, the high idea of the elastic good versus the inelastic good, there are things that we will do. There were hoops we will jump through in order to get the stuff that we consider essential. And then we'll make a trade-off somewhere else. Eggs is one of them. Like, I need eggs, all right? How much my eggs cost? Like, in my area, they're like $3. The funny part is that the left tries to tell me they're now $12. I'm like, I don't know.
I've not seen that anywhere.
Did you buy the chicken and wait?
Seriously.
Like, what did you
Peeps.
do?
Yeah, Peeps. She's got like 15 or 20 of them now.
Peeps is staring at her chickens going, how much is this costing me per hour?
Yeah.
All right, like, it doesn't make sense. But so much of what is going on now is that our tariff policy that is now starting to kick in, you have the other side. The only thing they can argue is it's going to make things more expensive.
And we don't know that. But we don't even know that that's
because
true.
We haven't seen how things have played out. We've seen the market conditions change. We've seen the Canadian dollar fall because of this. But we haven't seen the economic impact of any of this.
What I learned about reading about these tariffs over the weekend is that I didn't realize that the tariffs were actually on or charged to the companies buying from China, Mexico, and Canada. I thought it was to them, right? To the companies when they were selling to the folks in the United States, that they were paying this tariff. It turns out it's actually the companies buying it and then turning around and selling it to you. So that was the first thing that I didn't know. And then I got to think about it more. None of these countries, I believe, are very friendly to the United States. They happen to be on our borders, but I don't think any of them are friendly to the United States. Two of them are run by Marxists, the other by communists. Which of those do you think are your friend?
Probably none.
I'm just guessing.
That's how it goes.
I'm just guessing.
But what is happening, and this is the establishment of American power, and I am here for it. I'm enjoying it. Let's say, for instance, Joe Virgin River, sweet, clean Joe.
Handsome devil.
Sweetness of all of us. Joe's worth $5,000. Okay, like that's the whole. He hasn't gotten out of the house yet. $5,000. That's what Joe's worth. All right. Let's say he's going up legislatively with somebody who's worth $50 million. All right, the person with all that money and all that wealth is going to be able to get Joe to do whatever he needs to. When you look at the Canadian GDP and where they're at in terms of trillions of dollars, they're like 276. All right, we are nearly 15 times more than that. So we're the ones who get to dictate policy to them.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, here,
they need our market.
Exactly.
They need our market.
They need it to survive. I saw a note, Tug, and sorry to jump in there. 86% of the toilet paper that is brought into Canada is imported through the United States. Could you imagine if we decided to cut off the toilet paper?
None for you. Good luck with your pine cones.
How upset would they be if we cut off the toilet paper?
I'm thinking probably bad. They'd be really upset. I love the fact that Chuck Schumer says this is only going to make it harder for Americans. So you're telling me, Mr. Schumer, that stopping illegal immigration and illegal drugs will make it harder on Americans than what your party did in the past 4 years? He was talking about the tariffs, of course. I mean, I guess I should be satisfied that response is so weak. I mean, that is weak as a kitten. That's all you got? Your response to this thing that you're saying is going to be so detrimental to Americans is it's going to make it harder. You didn't give me any examples. You didn't tell me why. That's because you don't know. Nobody knows. It depends on how people interpret this. Do the companies absorb the cost, or do they pass it on to Americans? Do like the people importing, the other countries importing, Canada, Mexico, and China, do they then, do they lower the cost of what they're selling to begin with to make up for that, to bake in the tariff? I mean, there's 1,000 ways that this could go.
It's politics. We all get it. It is wild that people like Chuck Schumer and so many on the left are hoping for exorbitant prices after what we've been dealing with for 4 years so they can make their point.
That's exactly right, man. That's
Crazy.
how much they care about the United States of America, that they're pulling against me and you.
Like, they're really hoping that eggs actually get expensive. And, again, they always like, oh, eggs are this much more. Here's how they're up. Man, I'm paying like $3.25 for a dozen of eggs.
And let's say it goes up to, $4. Do you think it's going to change that much? Because for the last 4 years, we've been dealing with it already. We're already trained to deal with it.
Elastic versus inelastic goods. You will figure out a way to make this work.
Does it suck? Yes. Does exercise suck before you get to a healthy state?
But they
you
get $10 eggs.
Yeah.
There's no such thing right now.
Yeah. I've not seen it. I saw the mainstream media talking about it a bunch. I've not seen it myself. But that's the thing. Is it worth? Is the pain that we could potentially, we're not even guaranteed to go through, is it worth it? My answer is yes. When we come back, if you're a propagandist mainstream outlet, you'll be treated as such in the White House press room. Next on the Morning Extra.
The Kimmer Show is only live on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home. I have it on good authority that Flounder and Veronica thought long and hard for about 15 seconds to have you officiate.
I could have done 20. I could have done it. If the guy backs out, I can still do it.
It'll be our backup.
You'll have two backups there.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? That's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth. If they're going to make your life miserable, we all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there, napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
For half a century, glyphosate has affordably and effectively protected Georgia farmers' crops from invasive weeds. Without it, the impact would be felt beyond the fields, hitting Americans where it hurts, our wallets. That's why the Modern Ag Alliance advocates for farmers' continued access to essential crop protection tools so food prices don't rise even more. Get the facts at controlweedsnotfarming.com. Paid for by the Modern Ag Alliance in support of Georgia farmers.
Being in an accident really bites. You need people around you that are going to make the whole process easier to deal with. I just described David Van Sant at Van Sant Law. He used to work for the insurance companies. What an advantage. He knows who to call, what to say, and they're not going to pull the wool over his eyes. Give him a call. Van Sant Law, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com, 855-GA-INJURY.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A service dog's wonderful impact on a little boy from New York City makes today's Dean's List. Patrick Bresnahan was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder. His mom, Susan, who is a nurse, noticed that her son wasn't doing the normal things a 4-year-old typically do at that age, so she went to see several doctors to help. Patrick began occupational and physical therapy, and during that time, time, she was told he had a very rare disease called Timothy syndrome, for which there is no cure, but some therapies can help. Susan decided to look into a service dog, and that's when a golden retriever named Yam came into their lives. Well, Patrick's life changed immediately. Susan says her son was doing things he had never done before, like throw a ball for his new dog to fetch. His movement improved dramatically, and Susan says he started walking more smoothly, running, and even climbing stairs for the very first time. Thank you, Yam. You made the Doggy Dean's list. Janice Dean, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning, it's Carlos Medina. Here are your headlines for February 3rd of 2025. From last night over at the Grammys, Beyonce has won Album of the Year tug for Cowboy Carter. The superstar, who is both the most awarded and nominated artist in Grammy history, has been up for the category 4 different times, and many of the times she has been snubbed. Over in Forsyth County, a community staple is reeling after a fire devastated and destroyed their business. This is big for us. BB's Bagels burned down just after 7 o'clock Sunday evening. Forsyth County fire units responded to the location at 770 McFarland Parkway. The Atlanta Hawks are back in action tonight as things are not going well for them. They are 22-27 on the year. They will be in Detroit, where they will take on the surprising 25-24 Pistons. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off. With your headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
7 o'clock hours brought to you by Van Sant Law. If you're in an accident, make the right call, vansantlaw.com. We almost went to BB's Bagels yesterday. We had to go pick up our dog. He stayed at Aunt Peep's house up on the farm in Cumming. And we had to go, and I was like, I'm going to run by BB's Bagels. And for whatever reason, we didn't get a chance to do it. We weren't able to stop by, just running behind. And ultimately got a good breakfast at Aunt Peep's house with those fresh eggs that were just being laid that morning. It was great. So anyway, it's just so sad for the folks there on McFarland Parkway at BB Bagels. I know they're looking for a different location to continue operations, so I hope that works out for them. It's a great little place to get bagels and to get breakfast, and we wish them the best here on the Morning Extra. Tug and Los, glad that you're here. 404-741-1230. If you got something you would like to interject, any conversation that you'd like to have, we're always open to that.
We're all friends on a Monday morning.
Why, yes, absolutely.
Even if you're on the other side, we are accommodating.
I feel like
we enjoy having you part of this program.
Liberal John calls all the time.
Yeah, we
love hearing from him.
have some people that look at politics completely differently from us, and yet we all get along. We all have a discussion.
Was it Ruby that called on Friday she is anti-RFK Jr.? Was it Ruby? Yeah, it was Ruby.
She is not a fan.
She is not a fan. And that's okay.
I think it's great.
With you. I love the fact that Ruby calls and says, no, y'all are dead wrong, and here's why.
And what she brought up, I was like, it's all legitimate.
Yeah,
every bit of it is.
I have no problem with her.
If you decide that you do not care for this person based on the research you have done and we have all done, what I'm saying is every now and then I have to plug my nose and take the drink of something that I don't care for.
That's right.
But it's in the interest of, there's sometimes the other end of it is, this is going to be beneficial, in my opinion, for me. So I will, every now and then, I will sit back and say, I will take my medicine here.
Yeah, I'll hold my nose, take it. And look, and I don't believe RFK is that. I don't agree with him on about probably 50% of the things. Now, he did say, because Ruby, I believe, brought up abortion, and that was one of her big things. If I'm not mistaken, that was the thing that she struggle with the most, and I understand because I'm with you. I struggle with that very, very much too. But RFK, and I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but he was like, it is a tragedy. He said, we have, 1.2 million abortions a year, and it is a tragedy. Everything that leads up to that is a complete tragedy, and we have to do better. And I agree with him. We must. I hope he truly feels that in his heart, and I feel like he does.
So if Ruby and I were actually out and maybe she's having a glass of wine or something along those lines.
It's early.
Not now. Like, a few hours from now. I'm having a beer with Ruby. We would be having a discussion because a part of her problem that she had with RFK Jr. was she didn't care for his personal life. And I get it.
Yeah,
it's documented about there's some wildness there.
Well, he was addicted to heroin?
Yes.
I mean, he's overcome.
Yes, he's had a long history of very questionable behavior. But with that being said, that is the part that I enjoy in the same way that I enjoy Donald Trump's life. because we've arrived here. The distance to here is based off of what you've been through. And until there's somebody who's clean as wind-driven snow and you sit back, yeah, exactly.
I'm watching The Chosen with my wife. That's the only one that I know of.
And it comes right down to the stuff you've been through ends up dictating the way that you view life. And I would like more leaders out there that have been through some stuff.
Absolutely. It makes you who you are. All the good makes you who you are. All the bad makes you who you are. I believe that the more you've been through, probably the better. I'm like Los there. But I don't think those good, easy times make very battle-tested people.
Well, I'm not saying everybody has to get hooked onto heroin.
Right.
I'm just saying if you happen to be hooked onto heroin, Joe, then at some point, if you can overcome it, then you will have a pretty healthy respect for, here are my issues that I have with addiction.
When he overcomes it. I think that's when he overcomes it.
I mean,
right. Yeah,
we'll see.
I love the fact
JoJo.
That's right. No, Joey's not hooked on
heroin. No, it's just crack.
Okay, see, much better. That's better.
JoJo just plugs himself between his toes so nobody notices.
Oh, yuck. That sounds so painful.
I'm a pro. I know how to do it.
Dude, that sounds so painful and awful.
Joe gets up in the morning and he says the same thing. No tracks.
Nobody will know.
No tracks. Nobody's going to know.
Nobody can keep up
I'm
with
going to show to work. No tracks.
Los has been a proponent of this for a really long time, saying reject the premise. You can't argue when the premise is wrong because they're going to paint you in a bad light no matter what you do. Reject the premise. And that is what J.D. Vance is doing when it comes to mainstream media and liberal outlets. When they come to the White House briefing room and press room, he will say, if you're going to act like that, we're going to treat you like that.
I actually think that we are looking very seriously about which reporters show up, because if you're a reporter, even if you're biased towards the left, absolutely we want to answer your questions. If you're a propagandist for the Democratic Party, then we're going to treat you like a propagandist for the Democratic Party. And one of the things that I think we've already done, again, we're only 8 days into this thing, is it's not just who's not there, it's also who is present. And Carolyn had a lot of new media folks, a lot of young people who represent, I think, the vanguard of news media in this country. She gave Matt Boyle from Breitbart a question yesterday. These are actually some of the people who are driving news in 2025 in America. And I think, frankly, the MSNBCs, the CNNs of the world, they should take the hint. Your viewership is way down. Your ratings are abysmal. Why is it that especially young people are tuning into new media? Maybe it's because instead of engaging in propaganda, the new media is asking real questions. I mean, Joe Rogan, one of the biggest voices in American media now, he was a Bernie bro 8 years ago. This is not like some crazy right-wing guy. This is just a person who's asking questions. And unfortunately, most of the old media, they're just not interested in that.
And that's what Joe Rogan has done. He has brought light to a group of people to say, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to say, what you're doing is questionable to me. I want to know more about it. Let's sit down and talk about it. I never thought that Joe Rogan was ever a Trump guy. And like J.D. Vance pointed out, he was a Bernie bro 8 years ago. But he has seen what the federal government has done to Donald Trump specifically and goes, wait a minute, something doesn't smell right here. And the tipping point was when they gave him such hell for using ivermectin during COVID. I think that's when That's when Joe Rogan really turned the corner.
Well, so many comedians and so many people that work in this space, especially if they are middle to even a little bit left, the issues of attacking free speech that the Biden administration was so a part of, that turned so many of them. It was the red pill moment. Now, I'm not saying that they are sitting back and they are like these hardcore conservatives all of a sudden, because they look at conservatives in the same way that I do. Yeah, sometimes you're soft serve. You can't really be taken seriously. You are a minority. Here's how it goes. But they look at it and say, I have more of a home with them than I do with these other people that are trying to keep me from saying what I want to say.
We may disagree, but they're willing to at least let me say something different, away from the narrative.
It's like they can sit back and say, I get how you are on marriage, I get how you are on life, I get how you are on taxes, but because we align when it comes to free speech, that is the reason why they're willing to listen, and that's why they're all moving to I wouldn't say to this side of the aisle, but they're much more moving right because they've seen what's happened the last 4 years.
Without question. And another person that falls into that category that I never thought I'd have anything in common with is RFK Jr.'s former running mate, Nicole Shanahan. I mean, what she is doing is blowing me away. When she talks about the illegal immigration issue and the fact that Trump is tackling it and making a dent, doing good work that the American people voted for. And then you see these groups of illegals that are out burning the American flag. And she goes, probably not the best way to encourage the American people to be on your side by burning their flag, waving your flag. This is the flag of the country you don't want to be in. Yet you burn the flag of the one you do. The addition don't work there.
There is something very strange about this mentality that I do not understand. Like, if there's a Scooby-Doo moment. I'm trying to figure this out because we've seen now this in protest, whether it's here in Atlanta, we've seen this in California, we've seen this now across the country, where there are Mexican nationals that make it a point to go out on the street with the Mexican flag and protest what the American government is doing. If you like it, go on back.
Oh, so it's funny you bring that up.
I grew up in Texas, and I know, you know what they do? They come in for a week at a time to shop at Texas stores, and then they head back. Just stay. You don't have to come over here.
Massive ICE protest.
I know you want Whataburger.
So do I.
I know you want the Five Guys.
They leave the burger off my Whataburgers.
I know peace, love, and pizza is pretty badass. Go back after you're done.
There's a massive anti-ICE protest in L.A. blocking both sides of the 101 and waving the Mexican flag, but while doing it. I have no problem with the Mexican flag. I just prefer the American flag. That's the one that matters to me most. And Nicole Shanahan, the woman that ran with RFK, the woman that I thought I had nothing in common with, but the more she speaks, the more I realize maybe I do. She says Mexico is beautiful this time of year. Keep walking down the 101 South, a few more hours, wishing those undocumented a warm adios.
This is where they don't understand the game. Because if you had a bunch of people, whether they're here legally or not, if they were to be flying American flags and saying, we've assimilated to this country, we want to be here, we're part of the American fabric.
But I don't want to let go of who I am, my heritage. I got no problem with that.
That's fine.
Got no problem with that.
That's absolutely 100% fine. But the fact that you are flying an alternative flag to your nation's flag,
the one that you say you want to be
here,
to be a part of.
I'm sorry, you've put up the thumb of this is messed up. This doesn't work. I'm telling you, I'm willing to listen to anyone who comes to this country from around the world and says, I'm doing my very best to assimilate, to pay taxes. I want to follow the law.
I want to be an American.
I want to be an American. I'm like, cool,
dude,
let's have that discussion.
Hand salute. I got nothing but respect for you.
Let's do it.
I got nothing but respect for you. Now, everybody, even if you feel that way, not everybody can come here. And there's so many studies that says we just don't, there's no way to support everybody in the world coming to the United States. There's no way physically, financially that we can do that. So that means some people won't be allowed. Some people won't be able to come here. And that's sad, but it's just the way it is. It's the truth. But for those who are willing to come here, like Lo said, assimilate, be a part of the fabric that makes America great, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I don't expect you to be like, no, I know nothing about my Mexican heritage. No, of course, Mexican heritage is wonderful. Oh my gosh, there's so many great things about the way Mexican people live that I love and adore. And I think it makes the fabric of America even better.
A family-oriented people
Absolutely.
That are about
Faithful
hard
people.
work and faith. Like, what part of that does not scream America?
So appealing to me. So appealing. But you can't say, I care more about my heritage, the country that I'm from, than I do the one that I want to be a part of. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. Chuck Schumer embarrassed himself again. I mean, he does it all the time, but he's done it again, Los.
And again, cheap pop. If we were the WWE and we decided that we were like,
what you gonna do?
I just want to tell you that I love America. And everyone's going to be like, yeah.
Let's go.
Tug and Los. They love America.
Like Hacksaw Jim Duggan back in the day. He's the one that he had the 2x4 and the American flag that he would carry out to the ring.
Like, you do have the cheap pop. Chuck Schumer's going the opposite direction. As the Senate Minority Leader, he's trying to score these weird points. And the problem is, so much of this comes back to you have staffs. Like, so much of what goes on in Washington is your staff, they are not seasoned professionals, okay? Your staff are a bunch of 25-year-olds that are working for minimal dollars, that they want to build up a resume in order for them to have a future in politics or wherever they go, and they have a very elementary understanding of how the world works. So, for instance, when it comes to, let's say, the beer Corona is largely manufactured here. Right. Manufactured by Anheuser-Busch, who used to be the oldest American brewery. That's not anymore. That is now belongs to a group in Pennsylvania. It's owned by InBev, which is a European company. So you have a European company that owns Anheuser-Busch that mostly makes Corona here in the United States. Take a listen to Chuck Schumer when we're talking about tariffs on Mexico, how he's trying to make this point.
Let's just take Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, no.
Okay? It's going to affect beer.
Oh.
Okay? Most of it, Corona here, comes from Mexico. It's going to affect your guac, because what is guacamole made of? Avocados, both from Mexico.
Avocados from Mexico. I remember those ads.
Now, a large amount of your avocados come from California. And yes, there are a portion that come from Mexico, all right?
They're about to cost 25% more.
Okay, well, guess what? We're in a scenario where people will decide, I just won't deal with avocados for the time being.
Exactly. It's too expensive. I won't eat avocado.
And Corona, you're not going to see a price change.
At all.
But that man got up in front of everybody and he was like, take a look at this Corona. It's about to go up. You know what it's going to do? Welcome back, Bud Light.
That's right.
Because
it's just going to push them the other way.
Even
if it would.
What was driven by the craziness when it came to the Mexican beer industry was done because of Bud Light. It's going to snap back the other way. Consumers, when you have a good where you can just pick the alternative, they'll pick the alternative. That's all.
That's exactly right. And
by the way, both Anheuser-Busch products.
Yeah, exactly right. Because the thing is, freaking Chuck Schumer is the same guy that is putting cheese on a uncooked burger for a photo op. It's along the same lines. That was huge. It's wildly embarrassing.
I'm just out here barbecuing, everybody.
Obviously, he had no idea what they're like. Chuck, hold this, stand over here. We're going to take a picture of you so we can try to make political points. And it was a fail. A complete fail. Just like his whole thing with Corona that's mostly brewed in America won't face the same tax coming from Mexico.
You see this beer here? It's called Pabst Blue Ribbon, and it comes from Mexico. Like, no,
it doesn't.
Just like Corona don't come from Mexico either, brother. The beer snobs out there, you know what I'm talking about. And by the way, because of the growth of microbrewing and everything else like that, you have a lot of the beer snobs. We ain't even drinking in most of these sort of mainstream beers anymore.
When we continue on Extra 106.3, the main reason I trust RFK Jr. boils down to one belief that we both hold. Next on Extra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Two monster trades happened over the weekend in the NBA. The first happened on Saturday with five-time All-Star and five-time All-NBA 25-year-old guard Luka Doncic was traded to the LA Lakers for nine-time All-Star and 2020 NBA champion 31-year-old power forward Anthony Davis. The second trade happened yesterday in a three-team deal that sent 29-year-old shooting guard Zach LaVine to the Kings and 27-year-old point guard De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. Both having great seasons, with LaVine averaging 24 points a game and Fox averaging 25. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
The Atlanta Braves giveaways for this season are here, and you don't want to miss this lineup. Bobbleheads feature Chris Sale and Marcell Ozuna, presented by Delta, and a throwback bobblehead featuring Chipper Jones from the 2000 All-Star Game, presented by SeatGeek. Fans can also look forward to collectibles like the 1995 World Series replica ring and red home jersey giveaways presented by Coke, and a replica of Truist Park, perfect for your office. Visit Braves.com/promos to purchase your tickets today.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well, because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
You may know that ATL Turf Co. has become a leader in artificial grass design and installation services, but you may not know that ATL Turf Co. is a large artificial grass distributor. We only sell U.S.-made, premium-name brand turf at factory direct pricing below wholesale. And now we're open to the public with large inventories of lawn and landscape, putting green, athletic, and pet turf on sale. Plus, all remnants are on sale for only $1 per square foot, direct from Dalton to our warehouse in Kennesaw. Visit atlturfco.com to learn more. atlturfco.com.
Securing America.
2 weeks into the new Trump presidency, members of the president's administration say his goal to secure the border is making significant progress. Border czar Tom Homan on Fox's Sunday Morning Futures.
The crossings on the border are down 93%.
Some have been surprised by the tariffs enacted by the president against Canada for a lack of help on the northern border. But Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, appearing Sunday on NBC's Meet the Press, said the Canadians have work to do.
We have people coming into our country from China, from foreign countries. We have people on the terrorist watch list that come in over our northern border.
Noem also described some of the people who have been deported thus far, saying many had warrants for crimes such as murder, rape, and assault. And at this point, no one should be surprised.
The president has been very clear from the beginning that there's a new sheriff in town, that he's going to make sure he's putting Americans first.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
The Morning Xtra has you covered until 10 a.m. Then it's Glenn Beck, Clay Travis, and Buck Sexton at noon, and the Kimmer Show taking over at 3, only on Extra 106.3.
We were so lucky last week to have Evan Hodge join the show. Veteran Special Olympian. He has done alpine skiing. My man has gone like skydiving and parasailing. Dude is fearless.
That dude gets on a horse and is like, I'm going to make the horse do what I want it to do.
That's right.
I'm like, I respect that because I fear the equine.
That's right. I know Los does, but not Evan Hodge.
Not Evan.
If you want to see us take a chilly plunge into the lake over in Ackworth Beach, your donation will decide if that happens. I do not like cold weather. I do not like cold water, but I'm willing to do it for Special Olympics Georgia. So until February 16th, go to specialolympicsga.org. Make a donation on behalf of Extra 106.3 and our sister station, 680 The Fan. If we raise $2,500 or more, Los and I are going to jump in this cold water on February 22nd.
And I am rooting for, not for myself, more for Tug.
Well, what, do you hate me?
Heart attack.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why?
It's just so cold that
terrible.
You know, Tug gets into cardiac arrest. Not because I want to do damage. I just want somebody to have to bring you back.
I mean, it seems damaging to be gone so long and then have to be brought
back. There's NFL players that have survived this. They get brought back all the time.
Exactly, but I'm not an NFL player.
You know what's going to happen, though? You'll see Jesus.
No, which would be good. I would appreciate that.
And then we bring you back.
That's right. But Lord, I want to stay with you. No, it's not your time.
Thank you all for Special Olympics.
Exactly.
I'll save you, Tug. I've taken some classes. I know how to use an AED.
He's just over there on his car, warming up the paddles.
I'll save you, Tug.
I'm ready, Tug.
Don't you die on me.
Don't you? It's not your time. It's not your time. I got a great story about Mama Brown I want to tell you. SpecialOlympicsGA.org. Click on the Polar Plunge link very quickly. Mom Brown, my grandma, she was the most wonderful woman in the world. She cussed and she smoked and loved us like nobody else in the world. She was a wonderful lady, and she drove until she was like, gosh, late 80s, early 90s. And she was sitting at a red light in Dalton, Georgia, my hometown, where she lived and ultimately passed. God rest her soul. I miss her every day.
Does she smoke driving?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
What a cool lady.
Without a doubt. Absolutely. We're in the backseat. I'm around. No, we didn't say a word. She took us to Crystal. She took us to the playground. She would take us to watch the trains go by. She was a wonderful woman. But when she was it was, I don't know, a few years before she passed, she was still driving. Not very far. She would just go to the store, go to McDonald's, whatever. And she was sitting at a red light. And the right light turns green. And she started to go, and a car T-bones her.
Oh, no.
Cuts her head. She's, it wasn't, I mean, it was a rough accident for her at her age.
At her age, yeah, absolutely.
So the glass cut's just bleeding. I mean, it was tough. The police officer gets there on scene. The EMS get there, and she was like, it's my time. It's my time. It's my time. And the officer's like, no, ma'am. We're going to get you stitched up. Everything's going to be fine. She was like, no. No, it was my time. The light was green. It was my time. She was so pissed that they hit her. They thought she was saying it's my time, like I'm leaving the earth. I'm going to the great beyond. No, she was talking about,
I'm in the right here.
I'm in the right here. This person ran the red light. It was green. It was my time.
I think about that. We have this one intersection on Buford Highway over on Highway 20, and I've seen so many people run it late. I'm one of those people that, like, every single time the light turns green, people are nearly getting ready to honk at me because I'm like, are we good? Are we good? Just in case.
You know they're going to run that line.
You never know. Exactly. That's like, and I think that is one of those things that I learned from my grandparents of just because the light turned green doesn't mean you floor it.
Be patient.
Be patient for a second. Just give it one extra second.
Even if it is your time. Be patient.
Even if it's your time. It's my time.
Ma'am, you're not going to die. I know I'm not going to die. It was my time. My time to go. And that kind of leads me into the conversation about RFK Jr. He has had bumps and bruises in his life. But there is a reason that I feel like I trust him when we don't even always agree on things. And if Ruby, if you're listening, I want you to hear this, and you can let me know what you think about it, because Ruby called in on Friday and was very, very anti-RFK.
And by the way, I love our audience because they are incredibly smart with what they're paying attention to. When I tell y'all that y'all are the 1%, Ruby, you're the 1%.
Absolutely.
All right? Like a lot of y'all are the 1%. Y'all are paying attention. You're the ones that when you start talking about this stuff around other people, they listen to you because you are paying more attention than they are.
And well-read and well-researched. But take this into consideration with all the bumps and bruises that RFK has had and gone through. This may be the reason that I trust him the most.
I got sober when I was 28 years old in 1983. I came in really broken, and I surrendered to my God at that point, to a higher power, my understanding. But my inclination, like I think most of us, is that when the chips are down, God is very, very present for us, and we're willing to do what we have to do, and to invite him into our lives and to surrender to his will. But then when, life starts getting good again, which my life went from being very, very small when I was an addict to very big, very quickly. And my inclination when the cash and prizes start flowing in is to say, thank you, God, I got it from here. And then take the wheels of the car and drive it off the cliff again, and then have to come in on my knees again. And the challenge is, how do you stay in that posture of surrender even when everything is going well in your life? And that's the challenge, because so much of addiction is about abuse of power. Every day, God gives us this gift of time, but he breaks it into manageable units called days. And every day we get to try again.
Dude, I love that answer. I love that answer because it's so easy to be on your knees and next to your bed praying when things are down and when things are rough, and you're like, God, please Lord, guide me. Jesus, guide me through this. But I love the way he said it. When the cash and prizes start rolling in, when things are great, how do you have that same posture of dependence? Because our desire is, I got this, man. I'm in control of everything. And then as soon as something happens, you're back on your knees praying again. You have to have the same posture at all times. You have to be thankful for the good times that you have, yes. And praise the Lord in those times just as much as you do the tough times. That right there summarized it so well for me that I feel like RFK's mind and heart is in the right place.
I don't care if you want to say that he's lying to me. I appreciate the mentality. The mentality of, I have been humbled in this way. Because very few people end up being humbled in that way in their life.
Especially with that last name.
It's hard.
Because, they have everything they want for nothing.
Think about the premise, and I always joke around about reject the premise, but think about the premise that you have the last name, you have the wealth, you have everything, and you reached a point in your life where you're like, I don't have anything under control, and the only thing I can do is reach out to God because there's no way of saving myself.
I can't do this. I can't do it by myself. And I think that's the beauty of the Bible. That's what the good book is. None of us can.
And he looked at it, and he's basically saying that even when things get better for him, it's like, hey, you might tend to skew away from this stuff. But he's like, I can't, because if I do, I know what's going to happen.
I know I'll be right back in the ditch.
How humbling is that?
I love it when he said, I got it. Thank you, God, I got this. And then you drive it right back into the ditch.
Yeah.
Because that is real life there.
That is knowing you're a broken person.
And that's the reason I think he is on the right path. You're right. Could he be lying? Absolutely right. He could be. I got to tell you, the message, though, that's not a message that somebody, or at least in my opinion, that's not a message of somebody that's a believer or not a believer would use. That's one of somebody that studied and really understands what it is to be in a relationship with God.
Yeah, to understand you are a broken person. And depending on your level of severity, this is what you need. And you know that when you reach that point of, hey, I'm on top of the world, woohoo! That's when you know you're in your worst trouble.
Morning Extra 106.3, Tug and Los. When we continue to...
I'm going to go put shoes on, by the way.
It's fair.
I've been without shoes for the first couple hours this year.
This notion just walking around here with his socks on like he's, at home. Joe probably join him next. I don't take my shoes off at work. It just grosses me out a little bit. For me, not anybody else, just for me. I can't do it. Does America feel like it's...
YouTube, here's my socks.
Yeah, they're nice. Nice. Just black socks. Does America feel like it's in chaos because the leftists on the Hill think saying so is the way out, their direction that they need to follow? They say the honeymoon is over. We'll talk about that next after Neil Bort's report and the Fox News update.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Well, I guess I should be talking about the upcoming trade war with Canada and Mexico. Trump putting those 25% tariffs on them. Forgive me, I want to study that issue a bit more before I pontificate. So I'm going to divert to newspaper columnists. One writes for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Bill Torpy. I'll always read what he has to say, won't always agree. The other one writes for the Wall Street Journal, Peggy Noonan. She is brilliant, and a recent column over the weekend really caught my eye. The title was Trump and the Collapse of the Old Order. The old order? The old Democrat order. They're not doing too well, and she has some excellent advice for Democrats and how to get back into the good favors of the electorate. She hit this nail on the head. Toward the end of that column, Peggy Noonan has, as she phrases it, a word to Democrats trying to figure out how to save their party. She thinks that some Democrats just believe they need better talking points. Not so. Peggy Noonan says the answer isn't to talk, but to do. If there are Trump policies that you endorse them, support him. he's not wrong on everything. She says, admit what your party has gotten wrong over the past 15 years. Don't be defensive. Admit it. Be humble. And then this. I mean, I had to go wake up my wife. Listen to this, Donna. 2 Democrats. Make something work. You run nearly every great city in this nation. Make just one of them work. Pick one and go to work on it. Clean it up. Control the crime. Smash the corruption. Educate the kids. Make one city work. You think the Democrats are up to that? Frankly, I don't. We'll see. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Convenience is defined as the state of being able to proceed with something with little effort or difficulty. Well, at RBM of Atlanta, we embody this philosophy. Meet our Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for the required service. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2023 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience and Georgia's only 9-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best winner. We're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor for details.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
He'll talk to Canadian and Mexican leaders today. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, but President Trump says,
I don't expect anything very dramatic.
Ahead of his plan to impose tariffs, Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports from the White House.
Mexico, Canada, and China account for more than 40% of imports into the U.S. But unless President Trump changes his mind, which he says that he won't, tomorrow he'll be imposing a 25% tariff on all goods from Canada and Mexico, 10% on Canadian energy, and 10% on all goods from China to respond to illegal immigration and drug trafficking.
Both Canada and Mexico are vowing to retaliate, so the president says Americans may feel some pain as Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer warns the trade war is going to cost us.
If you want to go after foreign countries, don't do it at the expense of the American consumer who's going to pay more. That's the number one thing people want, prices to go down. The tariffs make prices go up.
And when the president spoke at Joint Base Andrews last night, returning from Florida, he also talked about a shakeup at the U.S. Agency for International Development.
Well, it's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out.
USAID has instructed its staff not to go to headquarters today after Elon Musk, in charge of the new government Department of Efficiency, took over USAID's computer systems, putting 50 senior staffers with the agency on administrative leave. After all the immigration raids since the Trump return to the White House, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will go to the southern border today. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's also gone to Texas, telling Fox,
My job is to uphold the law, follow federal law when it comes to immigration in our systems and deporting criminals.
It was a big night for music. They handed out the Grammys.
The big winners were Kendrick Lamar, who took home 5 awards, including Record and Song of the Year for Not Like Us, and Beyonce, who took home the night's biggest awards, Best Country Album and Album of the Year.
That's Michelle Polino. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
No traffic, no big deal. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
The honeymoon is over. Trump in chaos. I don't believe any of that.
Is that where we're at?
That's what they tell me.
It's week 3. Like the first couple weeks, that was one thing, and now it's chaos?
Yes, that's exactly right.
I'm enjoying chaos.
Me too. It seems like winning. Chaos seems like winning. It feels like winning. And all I see out of the left is disarray. They can't. We didn't play this earlier. And I'm going to break just because it's so funny.
Yes, when they were trying at the DNC convention.
When they were trying to figure out who was going to lead the DNC to be the new chairman, and they couldn't even figure out their own rules because they're so convoluted with gender and all boxes they have to check.
Can I put it this way?
Yes.
Imagine if you were in your office and there's 100 people and you're trying to pick out who's going to speak next in front of the microphone, and you say, all right, we need somebody who's wearing red. And there's like 30 people that are like, okay, that's me. Yeah. All right, we need somebody who does not have a sexual identity.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to like 4.
Yeah.
And we need somebody with tattoos. It's like there's all these conditions over and over and over. The search criteria got more and more complicated that they couldn't get anything done.
This seems like a Saturday Night Live skit to me when I listen to it. But you listen to it and get the same enjoyment that I did.
We're finding out ways to expedite this. Because of our gender balance provisions on this next ballot, you will be able to vote for 2 candidates of any gender on the next ballot. Woo-hoo! Okay? So on this next ballot, you will be able to vote for 2 candidates of any gender on the next ballot. If 2 candidates receive, I'm going to turn to Helen to clarify this last part.
Hang on, what?
You are in this next ballot where you have 2 votes, as the chair has said. You may vote for 2 males, 2 females, 2 of any gender, okay? Nope, you can't do that.
Nope.
Because we've got to balance. You could vote for 1 of any gender.
Okay.
Okay? Or no, non-binary gender, excuse me. It is late. Okay.
She has no idea. None of them have any idea because they're trying to jump through so many hoops and meet so many requirements that make no sense whatsoever. That's what their a process of electing a new chairman came down to. And they completely botched it. I watched 2 or 3, 4, maybe even 5 videos. There was a bunch of them bouncing around over the weekend. And it was complete chaos from beginning to end. And nobody could tell anybody which way was up.
Because the level of confusion based on the search criteria was causing an issue every single time.
And they're saying that the Trump honeymoon's over and that Trump is in chaos.
All right, we need somebody who's non-binary.
Is there any
who likes spinach?
That's right.
Where are you?
That's right. And
like, there's so many search conditions.
Oh,
like,
my
okay,
God.
This is not going to work.
So many filters and so many hoops that you have to jump through. It didn't even seem
I know that JoJo likes spinach. That's why I was just pointing it out to him.
Yeah,
because
well,
he's
I
a
do
spinach
too.
eater. Yeah.
It's so I can get big and strong.
Well,
That's
yeah,
right.
like Popeye. Popeye. For me, I like spinach, but I don't like it steamed. I like it raw.
Well, you're gross.
My wife said the same thing.
It's the wrong opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how
JoJo.
can somebody's opinion be wrong?
Because I said so.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. We've now
2 out of 3.
We've now formed our own coalition.
That's right.
The anti-Tug.
In DNC politics, we're now the champions here.
That's
That's how it goes.
Because at least you know where you're headed. Those fools didn't even know which way they were going.
We need someone who doesn't like steamed spinach.
I would raise my hand. Me, pick me. They're like, no, you're a white dude. You got blue eyes. You're a Christian and a veteran? Hell no.
We got problems here.
There's no way. You are. I'm surprised we let you in the room, sir.
Mr. Al Qaeda, please sit down.
That's right. That's exactly right. So Trump running roughshod over these Democrats, these communists, and yet thehill.com is telling you that the honeymoon is over. We're in chaos, they say. And I'm guessing when you don't know which way to turn without taking a punch to the jaw, you try to convince yourself and others on your team that you're still treading water, everything's okay. And then what happens when you try to elect a new chairman for the DNC? It sounds like the audio we just played for you. Complete chaos. Nobody knows what's up. Nobody knows what's right or wrong. No one can explain it. It's so convoluted, they can't even explain it themselves. That's why they're not going to win anytime soon. And I love that. None of that's true, though. The whole Trump and chaos thing. Where have you seen any chaos?
I haven't seen chaos yet.
Is accomplishing goals, promises made, promises kept. Will there be a stumping point, a stumbling block? Probably so. Will there be a decision that's made that I support that will backfire on us? Yes, it'll happen. It's just life. It's just the way life works. But to call the Trump administration in chaos is a stretch.
We are talking about boundaries. And when you overstep your boundary is when you see something that occurs within an administration and you say, oh, okay, they got out over their skis. That's an area they shouldn't have gone down. We haven't seen that in the first couple weeks. As much as the news media is trying to say, well, you're bringing up these tariffs, these unintended consequences. No, they're well studied. They know exactly what's going to happen. Your adversaries, your partners, remember, as much as we want to say, hey, Canada is an ally, and they are. Canada's an ally. But when it comes to economics, they have been adversarial to you, and so you're dealing with that. Now, you can say, oh, my God, I can't believe you're putting these tariffs on Canada. Here's what it's going to do. No, we recognize, similar to other countries, they're going to be very momentary, and then because we're a big bank,
they're going to fold.
Bank, they're going to fold quickly, yes, and they're going to do what we want to. And that doesn't mean that we're firing a shot at them. We're not sending any missiles. We're not doing anything crazy. We're basically just using our economic power to influence and get what we want.
And benefit Americans just like you.
Every time.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I voted for. That's probably what you voted for. I want to see them tear it all down. I want to see them remake it in a way that it is beneficial in every aspect for the American people, for citizens that live in this country, people that were born and raised here and have done nothing but work hard and be taken advantage of by their government.
Imagine if you had a country, like let's just pick out a random one. Let's say Brazil.
Okay.
And Brazil suddenly got a bit of an issue with what we were doing, and you decided to say, so we understand that we make up with our American goods about 25% of your GDP. You happen to make up about 0.2% of our GDP. We're going to tariff you in this way until you do what we want. Now, is that a bully tactic?
Yes.
Hell yes. But we should be partaking in this. We should be bullies. It should be America first, the entirety around the world. And we sat through 4 years of capitulation. And we sat through 8 years under Obama of capitulation. And where did it leave us? In financial ruin and having all sorts of problems around the world where we were weak. We do not have to do that. I'm glad this administration's a bully. And bullying is kind of cool in this regard.
Well, but it's important and it's necessary. That's the thing. It is necessary to get America on track. And you voted to get America on track. Let's get it on track. Let's do what needs to be done. We can be friends with the Canadians and the Mexicans as far as their governments, as long as they're giving America a fair shake, and they've not for the better part of, 30 years, since the 90s, since the free trade nonsense, those bad ideas that the Clintons introduced, the terrible idea of the free trade agreement, then called NAFTA, now USMCA. Those are bad for America, and Donald Trump recognizes it. We all know it. We may not have known why it was happening, but you can't miss that our manufacturing is gone. You can't miss that our deficit is exploding. You can't miss those things. So Donald Trump recognizes the problem and is now going to fix it. Anytime you fix a problem, it is going to be a challenge because it challenges the status quo. And the Democrats and establishment Republicans too, don't leave them out. They love the status quo. because it keeps them in power and the money flowing to them. We want to disrupt that.
Well, it doesn't change the game. They know how to play the game.
That's right.
They play the game according to the current set of rules. Once you change up the game and change up the rules, that's when the establishment gets very upset with what is going on. I like the idea that Donald Trump, with only 24 months of real power until we see the House probably turn over, I like that he is basically every single day, what's the next thing I can do to upset the apple cart to change the game?
20 days.
I'm enjoying it.
For 20 days he's been doing that.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, 21. Tomorrow will be the third week.
It's awesome.
Fantastic. Because the Democrats and the establishment have no idea where to focus their resistance, if you will.
Yeah, there's an attack every single day.
They have no idea where it's coming. They're like the guy in a bar fight. You remember that Toby Keith song, I Love This Bar? That just swings coming from every which way, people fighting. They have no idea where the punches are coming from.
Consider that the January 6th people that were turned loose, that was done weeks ago. And the left is so far beyond that, they're now having to fight tariffs.
They ain't even talking about January 6th being pardoned anymore.
And tomorrow, it's going to be the next thing. And they're so busy having to jump from one foot to the next, being upset, that Donald Trump just keeps laying it on thick. That entire group that he has, Pete Hegseth was the worst thing in the world a week ago. All right, RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard they're going to end the republic. And then here comes the tariff deal.
What? We'll worry about them later. We got to focus on this. And then the next curveball that comes in, we'll worry about that later. Let's focus on that.
And what's wild about the resistance on that side, because remember, it's bought and paid for. These are not people that wear pink vagina hats and that's all they do. What they do is they wear their pink vagina hats. I did say that, vagina. It's
a medically technical term.
It's just true. It's totally clean. It's totally fine. And then they throw on there, all right, where's my rainbow flag? Where is my Ukraine? What's the next thing I got to do? That's all they do. It's one hat after another. They take one off. They put the next one on. They got their BLM stuff for Thursday. It's like, here's how it goes. These people are bought and paid for. The problem that is going on is Donald Trump is moving so fast, his administration is moving so fast, that by the time they raise up any sort of organized resistance, they're complaining about something from a week ago.
That's right. And having problems electing people in their own caucus.
I mean, right now, when you have these people are flying Mexican flags and they're walking through the street, brother, that was a week ago. That was 2 weeks ago. We're on to the next thing.
That's right. I love it.
How far behind do you look? You're no longer playing the game.
I was surprised to see a woman at the Grammys by the name of Joy Vila. And Joy has an unusual take, and while she was being interviewed, I couldn't help but notice that she was wearing a red hat. It did not say Make America Great Again.
No.
It said this hat won't be removed or something like that. But
yes.
It was a clear salute to Donald Trump.
Joy Vila makes it a point as a producer and as a creator that she is conservative. So considering that we always see these award shows and people go up on stage and they denigrate, they have their political opinions, this woman's on the red carpet. She's wearing a giant red hat and she brings up what's going on in this country and why she's in favor.
I think the ones that should be deported are being deported. To be honest, I'm a Latina. My family came from this country to this country legally. And I love to see rapists, human traffickers deported. I don't want to see them here. I want us to be free for all colors, for all people. That's what makes America great again. So we can create, so we can live. As an artist, as a musician, I want to be able to walk at night and not think that I'm going to get killed by an illegal alien. And so those are the people getting deported, and those are the people that should get deported.
Tell me what sounds unfair about anything she said.
Nothing.
Tell me what part of what she said you would ever go, well, that's extreme. Nothing.
Nothing she said was out of the ordinary. You know what the strangest thing might be is that she is like, I'm a Latina. And this is going to be shocking to people that just I don't understand that illegal immigration hurts everyone. In so many ways, not just the crimes like Lake and Riley, but when it comes to your tax dollars being spent on free health care and free housing and all that sort of stuff. Nothing is free. Your tax dollars are paying for it. But it's funny for people who don't know or people that don't pay attention. They're like, that woman, she's Latina and she's saying this.
I will tell you, and write this down, Joe. Like, keep this in mind, okay? This is like one of those ardent rules that down the road you're going to be like, man, Los is totally right about that. I had no idea. As much as you might not care for illegal immigration, the Hispanic community hates it worse than you do.
Absolutely right.
They are the ones that primarily voted for Donald Trump to end this stuff. They are the ones that look at this and say, hey, just as she's doing it, I'm a Latina. I do not want these people here. You either do it the right way or you don't do it at all. And if that means you round them up, you round them up. It's a misnomer that this is somehow this white America issue versus these brown people or anybody else.
They have to paint it that way. They have to paint it that way.
Because it's not.
You can't build the narrative otherwise. I want you to hear from this woman. Her family came to the United States legally, and she's summing up exactly what Los is talking about. Listen to this.
I would love to wake up every day and my biggest problem be whatever I want to get upset about on the internet and whatever I want to let stir me up. I see that it says Carmen in Austin, so I'm guessing that you're in Texas. I'm born and raised here in California, okay? Mexican-American, and because I was born on this side of the border, I do not get benefits that illegal immigrants are getting in the state of California. So again, if you are not in California, you are not in my state, you don't know what's going on over here. As an illegal immigrant, we have something that our health insurance system, it's called Medi-Cal, okay? Not medical, Medi-Cal. That is government-funded, free health insurance. As an illegal immigrant, you immediately qualify for Medi-Cal, okay? Do you know what it costs to pay for health insurance for a family of 4 in the state of California? Let's compare Mexicans to Mexicans, apples to apples, okay? My girlfriend, stay-at-home mom, Mexican, married to a husband, Mexican, raising 2 children, Mexican, family of 4, okay? He works a modest, average American job. The health insurance for a family of 4, okay, $1,300 a month. Whereas an illegal immigrant walks in and gets offered free health insurance.
There you go. That's why you're seeing people with real life examples of why they despise illegal immigration. She goes on, that thing's like 5 or 6 minutes of her giving reason after reason after reason. That's just the one she started with.
I'm just telling you, you can write it down. There's a reason why you won this demographic, and it's growing in the way that it is, because people that are here legally can't stand the fact that you allowed these people to come in here illegally, and then you started using taxpayer dollars, which is your money, to try and keep them here in the interest of sustaining power for the Democrat Party.
Folks, keep maintaining and making the case for their own deportation to the American people. We'll continue the conversation next. 404-741-1230. If you see it the same way, if you see it differently, love to have your input anytime that you're available, or at Xtra 1063 across the social media platforms. This is the Morning Xtra. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Xtra 1063. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
As some people have called it, the end of an era. Biden is off to a memory care facility somewhere. Trump is moving into the White House. And the left, the progressives, will be going nuts. You brought this on yourself.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Xtra 1063 or listen anytime on the Xtra 1063 app.
28th annual winter white sale is happening right now at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Now, we're in the midst of this cold weather. We've been battling freezing, frigid temperatures. Now it's just really cold, right? I'm looking at my watch this morning, 41 degrees. A couple weeks ago, we were coming in and it was 15. Sometimes it was 9. It was crazy cold outside. Now you're in a reprieve, but that weather will come back. We have faced it before. We're in faux spring right now. There's a great meme on the internet where it walks you through all the stages before you actually get to spring in Georgia. Central Heating and Air Conditioning, proud to be the folks that you rely on, the folks that for 78 years have been keeping your home safe and comfortable and energy efficient too. Right now in the winter white sale, Carrier Systems, $2,000 rebate. industry leaders in quality and performance. It is the best in the business Carrier, working with the best in the business, Chuck and his team at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Do not wait. Central's winter white sale ends February 28th. So get started now. CentralHeat.com or call 770-GET-HEAT.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
Are you concerned about securing your family's future and assets? Look no further than Nelson Elder Care Law. As a family-owned and family-focused firm, we offer absolute assurance and peace of mind through our comprehensive asset protection services. Visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com to explore how we can safeguard your legacy and provide tailored solutions for your family's well-being.
Hi, my name is Steve from Marietta, and we hired ATL Turfco to build our dream backyard golf setup. They installed a large 4-hole putting green, a sand bunker, a short game area, and did a full conversion to artificial grass around the pool with decorative retaining walls. ATL Turfco was really creative. They were efficient. The installation was a breeze. Price was completely reasonable, and I definitely appreciated their communication throughout the project. I would definitely recommend ATL Turfco to anybody thinking about doing a backyard makeover. You can check them out online right now at atlturfco.com.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning, it's Carlos Medina. Here are your headlines for February 3rd of 2025. From last night over at the Grammys, Beyonce has won Album of the Year, Tug, for Cowboy Carter. The superstar, who is both the most awarded and nominated artist in Grammy history, has been up for the category 4 different times, and many of the times she has been snubbed. Over in Forsyth County, a community staple is reeling after a fire devastated and destroyed their business. This is big for us. BB's Bagels burned down just after 7 o'clock Sunday evening. Forsyth County fire units responded to the location at 770 McFarland Parkway. The Atlanta Hawks are back in action tonight as things are not going well for them. They are 22-27 on the year. They will be in Detroit, where they will take on the surprising 25-24 Pistons. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off. With your headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
It is Tug and Los, 8 o'clock hours, brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta Carrier experts. 28th annual winter white sale happening now. You can save $2,000 off a new Carrier system. $2,000 back in your pocket. Just call them, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. We talked about this a little bit, and we'll dive more into it now, I guess, because I just don't understand. I mean, I guess I should say it's frustrating to me when I see people that tell me that they belong in this country, they want to be in this country, and yet they set the American flag on fire during their protests as they wave flags for other countries. That does not work for me. I don't think that works for many Americans, including Mexican Americans, Puerto Rican Americans, Cuban Americans, people that care about this country, that came here because of a better opportunity, and they've embraced what the United States is. They brought their culture, which has improved the United States of America. I believe that. I believe that all the culture that we have in this country is wonderful. I think it's awesome. From family traditions to food, I mean, it's all part of the big melting pot that we know and love. But when you come here and say, yes, I belong here. Yes, I want to be here, and set the American flag on fire. That doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't make your case for me.
No, fire's always going to be really problematic if you're trying to make your point. And I think about a friend of this show and a friend of mine that I've known. So he's known as Fat Casey.
Okay.
Fat Casey has listened over on the sports end for years. And Fat Casey, we started calling him FC Smallwood.
Okay.
Now, I would refer to that as like Football Club Smallwood. It's Fat Casey Smallwood. Fat Casey, a year and a half ago, he did something that I was considering doing, but I got talked down by the wife. She was like, you can't do that in our neighborhood. I'm like, what are you talking about? I want to do it. When Donald Trump was initially indicted and the lawfare started, Fat Casey went to his front of his house. He took his American flag and he flew it upside down, as in the international sign of emergency. We have a problem here. Now, that's not burning your flag.
No.
But it is using the flag to make a suggestion about what you believe is going on. I think you have to be very careful when it comes to regular Americans. They're willing to listen to what you have to say. But once you go down the I'm burning the flag route, a lot of them will tune you out. They will much sooner listen to what you have to say if you make a political statement such as like flying a flag upside down and want to talk about it.
Absolutely. And we even did it for Xtra's Twitter.
Yeah.
When Trump was being prosecuted, the lawfare was happening. We even put as our profile the American flag upside down to say, hey,
emergency.
There is something wrong.
Pay attention what's going on in your country right now.
To pay attention. There is a drastic difference in that and saying, we belong here. You can't remove us. We are going to fight this tooth and nail because we want to be in this country. We want to make a living here. We want to live here. And to prove that to you, how much we love America, we're going to take the flag that you hold dear.
Don't get rid of us. Let's burn your flag.
And set it on fire. It just doesn't make sense. Whoever's advising these people are not doing them any services, because I saw the flags of all kinds of countries from Gainesville, Georgia, Gwinnett County, out in California, in Oregon, all over the place. This weekend, I would see it, and I couldn't help but give them no sympathy. I gave them no sympathy because they made the one error that tells me they do not care about being in the United States. They don't care about the United States of America. They want to be here in the land of milk and honey. They want to better themselves. They want to make a good living. They like to make the money that America can provide and the economy can provide. But no, we don't assimilate. No, we don't care about the country. We don't care about you, and we don't care what you think about us. And so much so, we'll set your flag on fire just to prove it. Some people will say that's petty. Call me petty.
I'm going to call you petty, and I agree with you. I'm being petty about this. I love your stance on this. And I will point out, if you are in a country, in this case, our country, and you're not paying taxes, you're making some more money.
You're getting crazy handouts.
Considerably more money than you would see in your home country, and you're getting the benefit of taxpayers taking you on the dole. They're giving you your health care, and they're taking care of and providing for you. When the word is, hey, this is going to end, no wonder they're sitting back and they're like, okay, how do we protest this? And this is one of the biggest issues that I have with this stuff. When they tell you, hey, they need to know their rights. You're not a citizen. You don't have rights here. None.
You're not afforded those.
You're not
under
afforded
the
the rights. None of them. And yet, you have these people, know your rights. You don't have rights. You're not a citizen here. You know who has rights? Joe has rights. Tug has rights. I have rights. If you're here illegally, you don't have rights. Awesome. We can ship you out however we feel like. We can attach you to a rocket and light it and send you out coyote style. Okay? We can do what we want because you don't have rights. Now, you have human rights. We acknowledge this. But if that rocket is considered humane, right. Bon voyage. See you later.
I don't know that it would be. I mean, it's just me playing devil's advocate here. I'm just guessing.
I can't send you out coyote style? Is that what you're trying to tell me? But don't tell me about I've got rights. You don't have any rights.
Marty's in Sandy Springs at 404-741-1230. Marty, what's up?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning, Marty.
They're waving their flags around, and so proud of it and all that. I mean, if they're so proud of it, why not just go back to their home country? I mean, why be here? And, the biggest thing is, take no prisoners, no quarter. I mean, just send them back.
Yeah, I think that's what the Trump administration is doing. And 7,800 strong as of this weekend.
And a massive amount of Americans it's hard to get Americans to be in lockstep on anything to a 60 to 65% agreement level.
Because we're 320 million people.
And 65% are like, get them out of here.
Mexico is beautiful this time of year. That's what Nicole Shanahan posted. She says, take I-5 south. When she's referring to this massive anti-ICE protest that took over Los Angeles, both sides of the 101 freeway, all I see is flags of another country. And then in other instances, I see the American flag set on fire. I want to be sympathetic to people, but you have to give me a reason to be. You have to convince me that there's a reason to be sympathetic. You have to convince me that you are going to be a contributing member to this society. And I'm not saying that all those people won't. I don't know. There's no way for me to know. The one thing I'm certain of is they don't seem to care about the United States of America because the flag of the country that they want to stay in is not present.
If you want to be a contributing member of society, I have just a small suggestion. Just a little one, okay? Just tiny little bit. Stop keeping contributing members of society from getting to work or where they need to go.
See, that's another thing that pisses people off. Dude, blocking the interstate.
Because that person that needs to get to where they need to go in order to get to their job, get to their family, they ain't all about you cutting things off. You should probably stand down in that regard. In fact, within this country, we allow you to petition to basically make it a point, let me get a license, let me get an authorization in order to protest, and then you can stand on nearly any street corner, be in any park, be in anywhere where you can organize and have any sort of protest you want. But you shouldn't be interfering with traffic or anything else.
Atlanta, Georgia, protest against ICE mass deportations. Again, Mexican flags as far as you can see. You'd never guess this was in America. They all love Mexico, and this is from @WallStreetApes on X on Twitter. They all love Mexico, want to represent Mexico, send money to Mexico. They just don't want to live there. You want to be here. You're trying to convince me you want to be here. And I want to be sympathetic to your plight. I want to be sympathetic to you. But when you take the image, the symbol of the place that you say you want to be and torch it as you wave a Mexican flag over top of it, that doesn't tell me you want to be an American. Please convince me otherwise. Give me some reason to believe you, to trust you, to say you want the same things that I do, because you're not doing a good job right now.
When I moved to Norway, and I joined the ski team and I decide here's how I'm going to live, you can just bet your bottom dollar that within a few years, you're going to be like, man, Los is pretty Norwegian. Because I've decided, here's what I'm going to go ahead and do.
You've moved there and you're embracing the culture, embracing their society.
When I moved to Japan,
well, good luck doing that.
It's going to be difficult. I get it. You're going to be like, hey, he's kind of Japanese. It's kind of cool. All right. The idea that we're trying to ask people for assimilation does not mean that we're asking them for capitulation. We're saying if you want to be part of this, then you've got to be part of this in the way that the rest of us are. That doesn't mean surrender. That doesn't mean that you're somehow letting go of who you are. You're just saying there's elements of who you are that end up kind of being part of the fabric of who we are.
Love it.
There's nothing wrong with that. These people that are somehow celebrating that they're a group within a group, and we're not giving up our culture, even though we're in your country. All right, you're the first to have to go.
Especially if you're breaking the law. And I would imagine holding up traffic on the 101 both directions in L.A. is breaking the law.
And I don't care where you're coming from. I mean, like, there are people that we deal with, like, within, like, you know, for instance, Forsyth County, where it's this whole melting pot of people. And there are some that are completely cool with like, hey, we're part of this. Here's this area that we're living in. There's others that have decided they don't want to do it. And all you're saying is, hey, don't you feel like you have it pretty good? Can't you kind of get along with this sort of stuff? If you don't, well, then move on.
My best friend.
Move on to the next place.
One of my very best friends. He was the best man at my wedding, Jason Perez. His parents, both first generation in America. He's the person that gets the most pissed off when he sees this stuff. The most pissed off. It drives him up the wall. My buddy Eric Diaz, born and raised in Puerto Rico, lives in New York City. He's second in line as the most pissed off. My buddy Trey Gill, he lives in Alpharetta, has a state farm agency. It pisses him off to no end, also Puerto Rican. It's amazing how they feel the exact same way I do, but if you turn on the news at night, you would not get that story. You would not get that message.
My family were the people that 300 years ago were living in Texas, and then suddenly, hey, it was Mexico, then it became Texas, and they all went, well, we all consider ourselves Texans anyway. They didn't consider themselves Mexicans. They were like, we're Texans. Texas then becomes Texas, then becomes part of the United States. And so when our country has gone to war, my family's going, we go to war for Texas, and we go to war for the United States of America. This mentality that somehow you show up here, but you don't want to take part in the heart of what the culture is. You don't want to, I'm not telling everybody they got to spill blood for it. But what I'm saying is you do have to make a contribution in order to make it part of society. The civil society requires you to invest in it. That's the part that pisses off your friends. Yes. That's the part that pisses off my family. Yes. That's the part that
pisses me off.
When you do not want to contribute to the civil society, that's where we have an issue.
I think you nailed it on the head when you said this is all in presentation that it's just me. It's just Christian white dude Tug that's upset by this.
No.
Couldn't be further from the truth.
No, the Hispanic community in this country is more pissed off about this than anybody else.
That's exactly right. We played you the lady.
And by the way, second place is the black community.
Yes, they are.
Those are the two biggest areas that are upset.
And rightfully so. They understand what's at stake.
They're trying to point at it and be like, it's white America. No.
Because that's such an easy argument to create. And a narrative to build.
That's closer
so easy.
to 50-50. The Hispanic community, the black community are the ones that are predominantly upset with this stuff.
In the tariff war, as it's being called, Canada will be first to give in. We'll explain next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Two monster trades happened over the weekend in the NBA. The first happened on Saturday with five-time All-Star and five-time All-NBA 25-year-old guard Luka Doncic was traded to the LA Lakers for nine-time All-Star and 2020 NBA champion 31-year-old power forward Anthony Davis. The second trade happened yesterday in a three-team deal that sent 29-year-old shooting guard Zach LaVine to the Kings and 27-year-old point guard De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. Both having great seasons, with LaVine averaging 24 points a game and Fox averaging 25. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
Thank you, Joe Virgin. Hey, it's Front Office Los. Let's talk about Howard Brothers and Ventrac. All right, I get it. It's cool to have a tractor, but not everyone needs a tractor. But for those of you who do, you need to check out the Ventrac tractors over at Howard Brothers. Ventrac is the ultimate versatile compact tractor. This machine has multiple attachments, all right? Whatever you've got going on, whatever you're working on, they have an attachment for it. It conquers steep slopes, it handles heavy brush mowing, and much, much more. Ventrac is absolutely your all-season solution. And again, what do? Go over to Howard Brothers. You tell them, here's what I'm looking to do. Here's the work I'm going to look to go and take care of. And the good people over at Howard Brothers, some of them have been working there 10, 20, some even 30 years. They're going to be able to help you with getting the right Ventrac for you. Visit Howard Brothers or go to howardbrothers.com and see how Ventrac can handle your projects with ease.
Attention Warriors, are you a veteran ready to navigate to success after service? Tune in to the Warrior Alliance Network. Join us as we spotlight inspiring stories, provide essential resources, and connect you with a community dedicated to empowering veterans. From career advice to health and wellness tips, the Warrior Alliance Network is your go-to hub for post-service success. Tune in Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Xtra 106.3. Join us on the mission, the Warrior Alliance Network, where warriors thrive together. Visit us at thewarrioralliance.org for more information.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes. But one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Hi, I'm Jaron Solomon from Solomon Brothers Jewelers, here to remind you that Valentine's Day is coming quickly. Are you prepared? If you are looking for the perfect gift this year, come see us at Solomon Brothers Jewelers. We've got the perfect Valentine's Day gifts like beautiful diamond tennis bracelets or diamond stud earrings for 40% off. That's right, you can give the gift of timeless beauty and elegance with a pair of diamond stud earrings or a sparkling tennis bracelet for 40% off. And to make this year even more special, we are giving away a free gold rose with any purchase over $4.99. So say I love you this year with a gift that never goes out of style. Diamonds from Solomon Brothers Jewelers. Come see us at any of our 3 showrooms, find that perfect tennis bracelet or diamond stud earrings, and get a free gold rose with any purchase over $4.99. Solomon Brothers on Peachtree Road in Buckhead, Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, and Fisher Crossing Drive in Sharpsburg. Online at SolomonBrothers.com or on Instagram at Solomon Brothers.
It's February 3rd, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Day the Music Died. The day remembers the deaths of rock and roll singers Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and J.P. Richardson, perhaps better known as the Big Bopper. The 3 perished when their plane went down near Clear Lake, Iowa in 1959. Also on this date, in 1941, the U.S. Supreme Court upholds the federal wage and hour law, which set minimum wage and maximum work standards. The U.K. issued a set of stamps in 1998 commemorating Princess Diana, who died in a car crash in August of 1997. Born on this day in 1480, Spanish explorer Ferdinand Magellan, the first man to sail around the world. Hall of Fame quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, Fran Tarkington, born in 1940. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
Did you miss Neil Bortz?
I am shocked.
Don't worry. He's live anytime on the Xtra 106.3 app.
Oh, that radio show.
Did traffic cause you to miss some of the Kimmer Show? Get it on the app.
It's all the kids talk about on Monday at school.
With anytime show replays from the Kimmer, Bortz, the Morning Xtra, Clay and Buck, and so much more. Plus local headlines and breaking news. Grab the Xtra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Beyonce winning Country Album of the Year at the Grammys.
Were you bothered by this greatly or just a little bit?
Oh, it's just dumb. It just makes no sense whatsoever.
You didn't like Cowboy Carter?
I thought it was fine. I thought I wouldn't even call it good.
It was fine.
It was fine. It was fun. When you had Post Malone's F1 Trillion, which was the biggest record of the entire year, bar none, had the most singles off of it, had the most success, most records sold. I mean, it was not even close. And he embraced country music like no, and I wasn't sure he was going to be able to because I didn't know what to expect. He moved to Nashville. He wrote with Nashville songwriters. He said specifically, I want to make a Nashville country record. That's the reason I'm here. Lainey Wilson, another. Her year was her last 2 years. Incredible. Chris Stapleton, also in that category. Casey Musgraves, also in that category. And then there's Beyonce. It's fine. No, I didn't think her record was better than any of the others that I listed. So, here's the thing. The Grammys are not in touch with country music. They don't care about country music. It is all about how do we tell country music what they should like, what they should do, what they should say, instead of what they do.
May I explain to the audience, because we had this discussion, the cool part about when you're at a volleyball tournament, the dads solve all the world's problems.
Have a couple cold pops, and you're like, here's what we need to do.
Couple drinks over at Murph's, and I had to explain how this works. And you know this really well, Tug, from being in the industry. The record labels, when it comes to the Grammys, now not everything, it doesn't mean like, country music, although they have an influence there. But the Grammys are largely based on the record labels submit what they want as far as the company or the groups that are going to be recognized with nominations. And sometimes there's an inducement there. So the reason why you don't ever see, hey, this independent artist, they had a great record, why is it not nominated? Because they ain't part of the industry.
That's right. They're the outsider looking in.
And that's how it works.
And Beyonce is the industry.
Yes, she is the industry, which is why she gets the love from it. And that's cool. That's how it goes.
But you just have to understand that. Once you understand that.
Once you're in the industry congratulates itself.
And that's why I don't watch the Grammys, ever. I lost interest in the Grammys 15 years ago. Because they don't represent country music. They don't talk about country music. They don't care about country music.
But I will congratulate Beyonce in that she recognized the way the wind was blowing. Country music is cool.
Absolutely. It's
like everyone's trying to make a country album and do it well right now.
I brought it up last week. Ringo Starr from the Beatles in Nashville. I want to do a country
because it's old school. If you're doing country music, you're going back to the roots of rock and roll to do a country album. So I like seeing talented people do this.
Me too. I have no problem with Beyonce's record. And like the bit I heard of it, I thought it was good. Did I think it was the best country record of the year? Hell no. Not even close.
All right, so if you told me...
It wouldn't even be in the top 5. It'd be maybe top 20 record of the year.
All right, so if I need to listen to two country records from 2024 to 2025...
Post Malone, F1 Trillion.
Okay. And I like Post Malone.
Yeah. Probably... Look, I love the Casey Musgraves record. I love the Laney record. I love the...
Don't give me too much, but if you tell me Laney, you know I'm on board.
So just go grab the nominees for Album of the Year, for Country Album of the Year. Listen to all of them. And all of them were exceptional this year. They were really, really good.
Joe, I'm going to tell my wife that when it comes to like my top 5 list, I'm like, you don't know this, but Lainey Wilson's now in there. So that's the free pass.
It's a respectable choice.
And I'm going to tell her.
She's a sweetheart, man.
Don't make me like her more.
Well, it's easy to do because she is an absolute sweetheart.
Going to leave my family for Lainey Wilson.
Well, she's being courted by Duck Hodges right now.
Oh, he got nothing.
Well, maybe they've been dating a long time.
It's fine.
Do you think you can squeeze in there?
Waffle House.
Never heard of him.
Waffle House can make things happen.
Duck Hodges?
Yes.
His first name's Duck?
Well, that's his nickname. Quack, quack. I think his name is Demlin, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned.
I'm
not worried about that one.
But you know who he is, right? He played for the Steelers.
Yeah.
He was a starting quarterback for the Steelers for a minute.
What?
I'm telling you. Go back and look it up. Duck Hodges.
Like in the 70s?
No, like in the last few years.
Like before Bradshaw?
No. Joey, do you have it pulled up in front of you?
Yeah, he started 12 games in 2016, 12 games in 2017.
Thank you.
What's his name?
Duck
Devlin Hodges. Duck is his nickname. He played at, I want to say, Sanford University over at Alabama.
He absolutely played at Sanford.
Yeah.
Well, that must have been a really dark time for the Steelers.
Oh, that was Sanford. No, he started whenever Mason Rudolph was injured in 2019, 2020.
Okay, so he was the third guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
I just
but
want to make sure I got this straight.
Yes, but
I mean, granted,
he
if you
likes the
start
duck hunt.
NFL games,
yeah, if you start NFL games,
then you did something.
Top 1%.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, so there you go.
I haven't started an NFL game.
No, and I never will. But that's the thing. I mean, it wasn't long last. He's not going to go down in history as a great, one of the greatest or anything like that. Not at all. But did he have a little bit of a run? Yes, and I remember it. And it was funny, to see Lainey and Duck had tweeted out because Lainey last night at the Grammys was doing a Music Cares tribute to the Grateful Dead, and she was wearing white. And Duck says, "Wow, now I know what you look like wearing white." As in, alluding to one day you'll be wearing white soon, because they've been dating for a long time and they've talked.
How long have they been dating for?
Probably 3 years at least, maybe 4.
Yeah, you're getting to that point.
Yeah, it's getting close for sure. And look, again, one of my dearest friends is Laney's record rep, spends a lot of time with Laney, travels the world with Laney, and she is the sweetest person you will ever meet in your life, the most genuine person you'll ever meet in your life. But when she went to Nashville, she had a pull-behind pop-up camper that she lived in for 2 years.
I love that story.
She had never driven on the interstate when she left the little bitty town in Louisiana she's from.
Yep.
Like 200 people. They've now put a sign up, home of Lainey Wilson. And she drives to Nashville, and it took her 12 years, including the 2 that she lived in the camper, and then the 10 years to be an overnight success.
Yeah.
It's an incredible story.
It's a great story.
And she is wonderful.
And I believe that is the reason why I have that interest in how she does it, because she did the grind.
She did. But all of them have, man.
You know?
That's the thing.
But some of them it turns into, it's 18 months. Some of them it's 10 years.
That's right. Most of the time it's 10 years.
Yeah.
There's a handful of the 18 months. Don't usually happen that way.
You better find the right scenario and have that right amount of talent. And somebody says, I can turn you into a star. Here's how we'll do it.
I see something there.
Yeah.
I see whatever the silver line. I see whatever, they say she's got it. She's got it.
It's like what we did with Joe.
I see whatever it is in you.
Joe, you weren't going anywhere until you hooked up with us. And now, Joe Star.
I was serving bagels, baby.
That's right.
Now look at me.
But we saw something, and we were like, if you just give us 2 years, there's what we're going to do with Joe.
And look, have you been here 2 years now?
Almost, yeah.
Dude, and he's gone from literally, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm afraid of pushing this button because I don't know what's going to happen.
And I'll bring you bagels.
You're right. To a guy that I think does a bang-up job because he's submerged himself in it. Beyonce didn't submerge herself in country music.
It comes back to Beyonce.
She didn't submerge herself in country music.
It comes back to Beyonce.
She had a red carpet rolled out. They say because she's from Texas, and I believe that she likes country music.
She's a Houston girl.
And I think it's a good album. It's not the greatest country album of last year. It's just not. It's not even close. Joe, you did better than Beyonce.
I know.
And you deserve an award.
I tend to.
Yeah, we'll give you a 0 FG on a platter.
That's right.
That's what we can do.
Spray paint it gold.
Yes.
What's
already has gold? I mean, all the lettering's gold.
When Joe hits that point, when he leaves us and moves on and does his thing, we're all going to be like, remember when we had Joe?
That's right, you will.
And life was good.
Remember when we had Joe?
That's right. And
then we're going to have our own little Lainey Wilson sign.
That's exactly.
Remember when Joe was here?
Yeah, we'll have a little sign in there. Joe Virgin used to work here.
Yep.
And now he's gone down the hall to the
be
Big
like
Brother
at
station.
the end of Shawshank.
What? Exactly. Just before he hangs himself.
Joe was here.
Oh, no, that's awful.
Poor Joe hung himself in the building. It's really wrong.
Let's hope
in the extra booth.
Oh, no. And then the next person's going to be like, gross, I don't want to work there. I'm leaving. Place was probably haunted. You know what happens when people do stuff like that? It's terrible.
He just didn't know how to live, not in conservative talk radio.
That's right. Knowing that he was center-left, he didn't fit the bill.
The funniest thing that I've heard Joe say recently is when he was talking to management and ownership about his next position, and they're like, it's a grind. And he's like, well, I've been getting up at 4 in the morning and doing
that's a grind.
Doing conservative talk radio, so I'll be all right.
I'm gonna be all right. When we come back
There's
after
no better answer than that.
Neil Board's report to Fox News Update. Let's use those 87,000 new IRS agents to see who in the government workforce has been double dipping.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Well, I guess I should be talking about the upcoming trade war with Canada and Mexico. Trump putting those 25% tariffs on them. Forgive me, I want to study that issue a bit more before I pontificate. So I'm going to divert to newspaper columnists. One writes for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Bill Torpy. I'll always read what he has to say, won't always agree. The other one writes for the Wall Street Journal, Peggy Noonan. She is brilliant, and a recent column over the weekend really caught my eye. The title was Trump and the Collapse of the Old Order. The old order? The old Democrat order. They're not doing too well, and she has some excellent advice for Democrats and how to get back into the good favors of the electorate. She hit this nail on the head. Toward the end of that column, Peggy Noonan has, as she phrases it, a word to Democrats trying to figure out how to save their party. She thinks that some Democrats just believe they need better talking points. Not so. Peggy Noonan says the answer isn't to talk, but to do. If there are Trump policies that you endorse them, support him. He's not wrong on everything. She says, admit what your party has gotten wrong over the past 15 years. Don't be defensive. Admit it. Be humble. And then this. I had to go wake up my wife. Listen to this, Donna. 2 Democrats. Make something work. You run nearly every great city in this nation. Make just one of them work. Pick one and go to work on it. Clean it up. Control the crime. Smash the corruption. Educate the kids. Make one city work. You think the Democrats are up to that? Frankly, I don't. We'll see. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? That's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth, or they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there, napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
Attention Warriors, are you a veteran ready to navigate to success after service? Tune in to the Warrior Lines Network. Join us as we spotlight inspiring stories, provide essential resources, and connect you with a community dedicated to empowering veterans. From career advice to health and wellness tips, the Warrior Lines Network is your go-to hub for post-service success. Tune in Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Extra 106.3. Join us on the mission, the Warrior Lines Network, where warriors thrive together. Visit us at thewarriorlines.org for more information.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Will he change his mind? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump says he won't, but he will talk today to the leaders of Canada and Mexico before he imposes 25% tariffs on their imports tomorrow, another 10% on goods from China.
We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that. But long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world.
President Trump conceding prices could go up on some goods. He says tariffs will stay in place until there is a trade balance with other countries. And Mexico and Canada do more to stop the flow of illegal immigration and drugs from reaching the U.S.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Now, the tariff on Canadian oil and gas will only be 10%. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum tells Fox.
We've got an opportunity to sell energy to our friends and allies, produce more energy here, lower the price of energy costs at home.
Mexico and Canada vowed to retaliate, which could affect our economy. But the premier of the Canadian province of Ontario, Doug Ford, tells Fox.
Hopefully, calmer heads will prevail. We're the number one customer to the U.S., and 28 states rely on us to for the products that they ship up.
Now on Wall Street, a sell-off is brewing. Dow futures have been down about 600 points ahead of the opening bell this hour. The U.S. Agency for International Development is in limbo, instructing staffers not to show up today after Elon Musk, who runs the new Department of Government Efficiency, took control of USAID's computer systems and said on X.
I went over it with him, in detail, and he agreed with that we should shut it down.
Talking about his discussions with President Trump, who says that agency is run by lunatics. They honored music's best last night Kendrick Lamar won the most Grammys, 5, including Song and Record of the Year for Not Like Us. Beyonce won Album of the Year on CBS.
I just feel very full and very honored. It's been many, many years.
Firefighters announced Beyonce's award as the show paid tribute to victims and first responders from the Los Angeles wildfire disaster. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Start your mornings the right way with Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station is Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10. If you listen to the afternoon show from 3 until 6 with the Kimmer, he calls Los the smart one for good reason. Los brings up things that most people haven't thought about.
It's a lie.
It's not a lie. Not a lie. It's dead on. It's dead accurate. And you've done it again in this case because it never even crossed my mind. It never, and it probably hasn't crossed your mind either, that Donald Trump should take those 87,000 IRS agents and find out who in the federal government has been double dipping. No wonder they don't want to go back to work. They're going to have to give up their second job while they get paid doing their first job. You see what I mean? They're making money off a different company while taking up a paycheck from the federal government. Never once crossed my mind, and I guarantee you it's happening so much.
This is beautiful. What you have right now, and this is when we talk about the Trump administration and the people that are working for him this time around are top notch. All right. Like they are the creme de la creme. They are awesome. And one of the things that they have looked into doing is taking those 87,000 new IRS agents, these people that they're armed, they're ready to go. They talked about two things. We'll put them at the border, or we'll have them research who works for the federal government and who's drawing two W-2s, who is doing 2 full-time jobs. Now, you'll look into it, you'll inspect and see if it's legitimate, but most of the laws and most of the regulations in this country is that if you work for the federal government, you only work for the federal government. It's very simple to go, oh, here's George, and George is not only getting a W-2 from Uncle Sam, he's also getting it from, and whatever the other company is.
Yeah, insert company here.
All right, Grant, now we know this guy is not doing the job that he's supposed to be doing. He's gone. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be awesome to see the amount of federal employees who have been stealing from you. All right, it's your money.
Yeah,
they're stealing from you.
That's right. That's right. It's so, and it pisses me off so bad because you and I work a full-time job, and I do 2 other part-time jobs. I have 2 other part-time jobs. That's because the last 4 years have been brutal. And now there's with these 2, there's also opportunity there, which I love. I mean, that's what America's about, the land of opportunity. Hey, can you make something good out of this? Sure, I love that. But I can't imagine if I were doing another full-time job while trying to do a show with you this morning. Like I was over here just typing away, writing reports for UPS or something while I'm supposed to be paying attention and talking about the things that matter to the people that listen to Extra. Can you imagine that distraction? Can you imagine trying to do that? The reason they can do it in the federal government is because nobody is keeping tabs on them. They don't got to go into the office. There's no mechanism to keep up with the work that they accomplish. So, of course, they're super pissed that their second stream of income is going to be disrupted.
It's going to go away, everybody.
Call. Can you imagine having the courage, the cojones to be like, yeah, what I'm doing is I'm doing a completely different job while I'm getting paid to do this job and nobody knows about it.
We're not supposed to celebrate people losing positions unless they happen to be on the government dole. And to find out that was just part of they were treating the government and the taxpayer money as a side gig while they did something else.
Dude, that's
low down, man.
Low down, but it's so par for the course. You want to know why the American people despise the federal government, despise government in general, and are not trusting of the federal government or government in general? Because they've been given no reason to. Give me one reason that the federal government or government in general has given you to trust them. 404-741-1230. Because I can't think of one.
I tell you, we bomb things really well. But 87,000 IRS employees, and you're telling them, go find the federal workers that are bringing in 2 W-2s. Because I can tell you, like, I lived that life for the better part of about 12 years where I got a W-2 from one company and I was then a contract worker for another company. And it was in conjunction. So there were 2 different paychecks. There were 2 different pieces of management.
Unique scenario.
It was a very unique scenario. Never had that happen to me in my entire life. And that's what it was. Once it went down to just one, life was easier. But I never thought to myself, well, let me go find another full-time job and I'll tell my other employer, I'll get around to doing the job for you.
I know I've got things that are backing up. I know I'll get to it, but I've got my second job to do right now.
I mean, let's be very honest.
Who's going to be okay with that?
I'm going to work this show, and then we'll knock things out around, 10, 11 o'clock. I'll be kind of done. I could choose to go work for somebody else in the rest of the afternoon, but it's going to take away from my primary job, which is why I don't do it. And yet these federal workers were like, here's what I'm being paid by the federal government. But since I don't have to show up to work, I will go find another job so that I'm double dipping.
I'm going to defend them. And you may think, what in the world is Tug doing right now? I'm going to defend them. Because there's been nothing to prevent them from doing it. There's been no consequences.
There's no issue to keep them from doing it.
There's no issues at all. This has been encouraged for 30 or 40 years. So if you are raising your child and there's never repercussions, if they put their hand in the cookie jar, you're just like, oh, hell, don't do it again. And then they do it again and you do nothing. If they don't get good grades and you're like, you better get good grades, but yet there's no repercussions for not getting good grades.
Yeah, if there's nothing to stop them.
What is going to stop a person from saying, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I be? It'd be crazy not to do this.
Why would I not take it? And I believe this is what we're dealing with. This has just become the standard. And they took advantage of the standard, and the standard provided a comfortable lifestyle. And now that the standard is changing, they're complaining about, wait a minute, I've been doing the standard for this long. Like, why are you now, post-COVID, now changing up what the standard's been? For the last 4 years, now going on year 5, I've been pretty comfortable by living by this standard. Sorry.
Because the company's been sold out. The company's been
changed.
Bought out.
The company's
changed.
That's
There's
all.
a different management structure, and it works in every. If you work for a company that's been bought out before, you know exactly what we're talking about.
So if you want to lead the federal government and go work in the private sector and go head-to-head with JoJo, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Because Joe Virgin River, he moves fast and he slices like Ginsu. You have been taken care of in the federal government for the longest amount of time. You can't move fast and you don't cut like Ginsu like JoJo does.
It'd be like me trying to run against an Olympic sprinter. There's no way I'm keeping up because I haven't been trained to do that.
Training it.
I've not been working out like that man has, or that woman for that matter. Whomever that person is, I'm not going to be able to keep up with anybody because that's not what I've done for the past 4 years. Or realistically, and I know you're talking about 4 years with the Biden administration, but truly this has been happening for years and years, decades in the federal government. They've been trained to be ticks, and the American taxpayer is the host.
That's right.
They just until they explode.
They've been able to take all that blood from them, and now things are changing. You know, I was very hesitant to believe that Doge could make a large financial impact because they are largely a suggestive organization. It's not like Doge has power within the federal government. It's not like Elon Musk is sitting as some elected official or somebody who has like some sort of power in which he can say, we should cut this, and it happens.
Now, if you listen to the Democrats, you would think that he does.
Of course.
But of course, that's not the case.
But credit to them. They are pointing out, here's where we have waste, here's where we have abuse, here's where we have issues. And as of now, the White House is acting on it. And Congress is acting on it to say, yeah, let's stop the payments to that. Let's make sure that doesn't get taken care of.
It's like when you use an app to plug in your accounts and it tells you where you're wasting money or duplicating spending money. There's one, I think it's called Rocket, maybe. I've seen an ad for it. I think Rocket Mortgage owns it.
Rocket Mortgage from Quicken?
Yes. I think they have an app that will, if you plug in your stuff, because if you're doing your taxes with them anyway, they have your information. So it's not like you're just sharing.
Argument. Trust me, they have all.
Yes, they probably would anyway. Goes yes, without a doubt.
They know the day I'm going to die at this point.
but for my argument, it's like when you plug in and it says, "Hey, you're double. You're paying for two services here that are really similar." Or do you realize that you didn't stop paying for that one streaming service that you never watch anymore? And all they do is say, "Hey, might want to cancel this," and we'll even show you how to cancel it. That's what Doge is.
That's what Doge is. I think that's a really good description of it.
And Donald Trump says, "Yep, cancel that."
Let me highlight the silly things that we're doing. And let's put it out to the administration, and in large part, let's put it out to the American people, and they will all say the same things. Really? We're handing condoms out to the
tune of $50 million, by the way.
Which, it's not for a prophylactic standpoint. It's not to you're sending condoms to places around the world because you want to help people protect their weapons, because a condom is really good at keeping moisture out of a weapon. That's the sort of stuff that we're talking about that Doge has pointed out. This is silly spending. So it's not only just these organizations, it's the workers too. Y'all are all on the chopping block, and I'm here for it. I love it.
Me too, including the Christian organizations.
Yes, the NGOs and everything else out there. The Catholic and Christian organizations.
Filthy what is happening under them. All in the name of the good Lord, they would tell you. Now we know better. But they get away with it. They've gotten away with it because it's like, it's a Christian organization. They're doing the right thing.
What is the great deflector shield? Jesus.
That's exactly right.
I'm doing this for Jesus. Now, there are a number of deflector shields in this world. Like JoJo, he uses his own, which typically is the American flag. So when we go
yourself in the flag all the time.
When we go at him and we want to attack him, he's like, "Why are you doing that? You know I love America." And at that point, we all have to back off. We're like, "Oh, he loves America."
That's a good point. He makes a good point.
What it is.
Can't say anything about Joe.
If we go at Tug's like, "I'm a veteran."
And I love Jesus.
That's two giant deflector shields.
I got one on each shoulder.
When you go at me, I always say the same thing. Why are you attacking a minority? Okay, that's my deflector shield.
And you have two.
I've got two. I got two great deflector shields. I've got a handful of these.
Black and lesbian.
There we go. And I'm black and lesbian. I've got multiple deflector shields here. This is one of those games that gets played on a regular basis, where it's like, I put this up here so you can't question me. These NGOs are like, but we're doing it for Christ. But the policy is terrible.
But what you're doing isn't very Christian.
No.
And that's the thing. They use that as a deflector shield. And for me, I want to be on the up and up on everything, right? When it's my team in power or my political party in power, I want to hold them to the highest of standards. I think they should be doing things, because I've complained about the low standards that the Democrats have used. I want to hold the Republicans and conservatives to an even higher standard. The same way with NGOs that claim that they're doing things in the name of Jesus, in the name of faith, and then you find out that they're not doing things the right way. It's infuriating. We should be holding them to the highest of standards. And I'll give you an example. The church we go to, Perimeter in Johns Creek, they will open up the books. Everybody has access. You can figure out where the money is spent. They're so transparent. Therefore, I trust them. And the things that they do, they want to make it clear why they're doing it, who's benefiting from it. They talk about it in open forums. They have meetings about it. They have so many elders that I know and trust because I know the work that they do and what they represent. And they would be the first to say, we are not doing the right thing and this is wrong. And they would be expected to. And that's why I trust. And when I tithe to my church, I feel good about it.
All right, so I'm going to go deep here. You ready? 9:17. I'm going deep.
Okay.
Deep.
Okay, all right, Barry White.
All right, every now and then, when I get to about 1:30 in the morning on like a Friday or Saturday night, I might jump into videos of people who have died and then come back.
Oh my gosh. Dude, those stories are unbelievable.
There's a uniform message that goes across the board with all of them. And it always goes back to how much good are you putting out in the world versus not. And they feel ashamed by what they've done wrong to people. And it's a moment to repent, feel bad about it. But it comes back to how much good did you put in the world? And across the board, most of our religions are based on that. I don't care if you happen to be from India or you happen to be from the Middle East,
Hindu
or Judeo-Christian,
or Jew or Christian.
It's about the good you put in the world. And so when you see these NGOs and these organizations that are using their platform and the money they're getting to do stuff that's evil, like there's something that's really gross about that.
Oh, beyond gross.
Because you're doing it under the guise of religion. You're doing it under the guise of trying to take care of people, yet you are executing, in some cases, you're trafficking children. But you're doing it under the guise of I'm doing this, in the interest of God.
It's
okay,
unreal,
there's something wrong with that. And so I don't know. It's like, again, Friday night, Saturday night, there's moments where I look at those and I go, yeah, them organizations need to be defunded.
The money that is spent and given to a bunch of the ministries, but NGOs in general, just because we're talking about ministries. You remember the lady that attacked President Trump from the National Cathedral? Her church, the immigration ministry that they run out of the National Cathedral.
Here we go.
$53 million in tax money. $53 million. Power and money corrupts. And you saw it on display. There wasn't a message. That woman didn't preach a message of hope. That woman was straight out of politics. Her entire message was political. Why? Because her church gets $53 million. Churches should be held to the highest of standards. They have to be held to the highest of standards. And right now, they're not.
So when I'm not looking at the 7 races of aliens,
right,
or the Sasquatch, the Yeti, or wormholes or black holes, yes, I also look into people that come back from the dead and tell us what went on when they died.
Dude, there's a few documentaries that my mom has watched over the years.
And cool documentaries.
Dude, they're so intriguing. Every time I get a chance to watch one of those, I do. It was a movie, not a documentary. God, it was a Christian. I'll have to look it up. In the last probably 5 years, there was one about a little boy that died and came back, and just everything that happened beyond that, and the things that he saw, and the things that he told people, and the way it all played out and affected his family and his church and his community. It was unbelievable. I love that stuff.
One of the ones that I liked the most was a woman, and she left her body, and there was a sticker on top of the fan in the room she was in. And she told the doctors and the nurses, like, what color there's a sticker up there.
That's right.
And they're like, you don't know that. And then they went and looked and like, there's a sticker up there.
Oh, my God.
They're like, that woman left her body.
Heaven is for Real is the name of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Heaven is for Real from 2014.
Yep.
Dude, that movie's amazing.
But it's still, like, all of these people, it's always about the good you put in the world. And so when you see evil being done in the interest of, we're making money, but we're going to do it under the guise of the church, it's ugly game.
So gross. 9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Anything to do with the outside of your house, they will fix it for you. They will repair it for you. They will make it better for you. Repair it or replace it for that matter. Windows, doors, siding, roof, gutters, build a deck, screen in a deck. They can do it all. 8779 Southern, southernexteriors.co. Right now, you can choose 0% financing for 12 months or 10% off the job that you do. It's up to you. When we come back, the left will not win again until they change. And you know what people hate more than anything else in the world? Change. Next on Extra. The Kimmer Show is only on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
Rebecca, hi. Welcome aboard. What's going on?
You know what? First of all, I'm so excited you're back on the air because you make me happy.
Well,
you make me laugh.
Well, I'm not sure that sounds like me half the time, but you're very sweet. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
There are so many things as a homeowner you need done. I was talking about this to my son who's 20. He's off at college, and he's got a budget that he has to stay under, right? For buying food, for getting gas, just all the things. And he's been pretty good about staying under the budget. This month, not so much. And we talked about it. We're like, hey, man, you just got to pay attention to this stuff. One day when you're on your own, you'll have to keep a budget. And luckily, your mom and daddy and I have worked so hard. We have done enough that if you have that accident, we can absorb it. But wait till you own your own home. And then we got to talk about the mess with the contract in the bathroom and all that stuff. You have to be able to pay for it all. And when it comes to your home, there's always something to do. There is always, if you're a homeowner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I'll give you an example. Our outside lights on the garage, they do not work anymore. I have no idea. Just 2 days ago, they just quit working. So now we got to get that fixed. If you're a homeowner, the exterior of your home is so important. That's what takes the brunt of everything that the weather serves up for your house, whether it be wind or rain or storms, snow, sleet, ice, or just heat. Southern Exteriors, since 1999, they can help with those damages or help with that damage, help with those repairs. And right now, you can get 0% financing for 12 months or 10% off any job. Roofing, siding, gutters, windows. If it's on the outside, they can fix it. 8779 Southern, southernexteriors.co.
Convenience is defined as the state of being able to proceed with something with little effort or difficulty. Well, at RBM of Atlanta, we embody this philosophy. Meet our Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for the required service. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2023 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience and Georgia's only 9-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best winner. We're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor for details.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Got a to-do list a mile long? No problem. We've got the ultimate solution, our Handyman for a Day program. Here's how it works. You get a skilled handyman dedicated to knocking out your honey-do list. Paint touch-ups, drywall repairs, door adjustments, and much more, all done in one day. You want to jump into spring and not worry about your home? Call us now before the rush for your Handyman for a Day and call us at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. One call, one handyman, one day, the Trusted Toolbox.
Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Have you considered securing your family's future, protecting your hard-earned assets, navigating complex legal matters with ease? Nelson Elder Care Law is here to guide and empower you and your loved ones. As a family-owned and family-focused business, our mission is to exceed your expectations, offering absolute assurance and peace of mind. With our trademarked Absolute Protection Trust and expertise in customized estate planning, Medicaid crisis solutions, probate administration, guardianship, and conservatorship, Nelson Elder Care Law protects what matters most to you. Imagine a team dedicated to safeguarding your legacy every step of the way. Our flat fees ensure transparency, and our customized plans prioritize your family's specific needs. Are you worried about protecting your family and your legacy after you're gone? Let us help you ensure you're absolutely protected from whatever curveballs life may throw your way. Schedule a complimentary legacy planning meeting with our legal team in Marietta or Woodstock today. Contact us at 678-250-9355 or visit at nelsoneldercarelaw.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning. It's Carlos Medina. Here are your headlines for February 3rd of 2025. From last night over at the Grammys, Beyonce has won Album of the Year tug for Cowboy Carter. The superstar, who is both the most awarded and nominated artist in Grammy history, has been up for the category 4 different times, and many of the times she has been snubbed. Over in Forsyth County, a community staple is reeling after a fire devastated and destroyed their business. This is big for us. BB's Bagels burned down just after 7 o'clock Sunday evening. Forsyth County fire units responded to the location at 770 McFarland Parkway. The Atlanta Hawks are back in action tonight as things are not going well for them. They are 22-27 on the year. They will be in Detroit, where they will take on the surprising 25-24 Pistons. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off. With your headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. Windows, doors, siding, roof, build a deck, screen in a deck. They can do it all, 10% off the entire job that you choose, or 12 months, 0% financing. Get the job done. Do not risk your biggest investment, your home. Get that done. Get that taken care of right away. Tug and Los on the Morning Extra until 10, about another 32 minutes or so. The
Welcome
show
in, America.
Freaking flown by. I feel like it's been the blink of an eye. Joey, you're rolling your eyes. You don't feel like that?
Now the last 30 minutes is going to take 4 hours.
No,
Well, he's always in pain.
What?
It's sexual in nature, but yes, he's always in pain.
Cassandra, what has she done to you?
No, it's not Cassandra. Don't blame her.
No.
It's the other ones.
He's loved.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Ruthlessly.
I've got so much love, I just got to share it, you know?
I'm afraid of that. I don't know what that means, and that scares me.
You're doing great.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Try my best.
Yeah. We played some audio earlier of the Democrat Party when they were trying to elect their new leadership. And it was so bass-backwards. They couldn't even explain what they were trying to do. It may be worth playing again just because it's
by all means.
It's so ridiculous.
They're trying to hold a vote on the chair for the DNC, and they're trying to come up with their rules by which they're going to put this forward.
Seems like they would have established those ahead of time, and maybe they did, but nobody can explain them.
But it turns into
a freaking Saturday Night Live skit.
If we were to say, all right, we're going to have, in this case, with this show, we're going to have 3 men, and we're going to vote on what the future of the show is going to be. And then the problem is that when we're getting ready to vote, I choose to say, well, I'm a black lesbian, so...
Well, that throws a wrinkle in things.
Maybe I should count 3 times.
Let's see how it all came down. Just get ready to smile, because it's going to put a smile on your face.
We're going to we're finding out ways to expedite this. Because of our gender balance provisions on this next ballot, you will be able to vote for 2 candidates of any gender on the next ballot.
And they're even happy about it.
Okay? So on this next ballot, you will be able to vote for 2 candidates of any gender on the next ballot. If 2 candidates receive... I'm going to turn to Helen to clarify this last one.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
You are in this next ballot where you have 2 votes. As the chair has said, you may vote for 2 males, 2 females, 2 of any gender, okay? Nope, you can't do that.
Take that back.
Because we've got to balance. You could vote for 1 of any gender, okay? Or no, non-binary gender,
what?
excuse me.
Non-binary now.
Now throw that in there.
Okay.
It was like a volleyball match gone bad. I mean, it was just nobody could keep the ball on the floor.
So, with that audio now being heard, as you see all their rules, I will tell you, here is how the Democrats don't win for quite a while. Now, keep in mind, they're going to win like in Oregon. They'll win in
California,
in Southern
New York,
California.
yeah.
They'll
There'll be
win.
some.
Hey, watch out for New York. New York is altering because of all the illegal immigration. Dude, it's moving much more in our direction.
California too.
California, we're going to see what happens with all the wildfires.
They're not going to be blood red states. I'm not pretending that is the case, but they will be more competitive. I guarantee you that.
Can it be more purple? All right, I'm going to read you a tweet from 3 years ago. And this person said, whenever you start a tweet with it's kind of like 16-year-old girl.
Maybe like that.
So I'm going to read it in the most 16-year-old girl way I can. I'm already one of the most politically toxic people in the country. Any politician doing anything with me is in effect committing political suicide. You really are barking up the wrong tree if you think I'll ever have enough power to impact anything. That's David Hogue. He's now the vice chair of the DNC. He got voted in. This is someone 3 years ago who told you, I'm so politically toxic that you can't land office if you're with me.
Which is why the Democrats were like, yes, that's who we want.
And in their mind, they thought to themselves, this person who is profiteered off the death of his classmates to the tune of now, I'm going after guns. First off, you're going after guns, you're already doing it wrong. Next, if you're doing it with David Hogue, who looks as female as a man can look, all right, that's not working either. They are ensuring our own victories. All we have to do, America, is make sure we keep our head on straight. And we will win for the better part of a decade. These great times going on, they're going to continue to go on as long as we don't mess up the end game, because the Democrats can't get it straight and they can't get it right.
So much so that they can't even tell you who you're voting for while you're voting for them.
They're busy talking about, okay, let's make sure that we're representative. But, oh, by the way, we're going to have 2 women, 2 men, and we need 2 other people that are non-binary. They're busy playing that stupid game. The teacher's lounge is so wrong and so off and so messed up that as long as we don't mess things up, we're going to be holding power for quite a while.
Because they can't get out of their own way.
Look, David Hogue.
I mean,
really? You went with David Hogue.
The most self-described most politically toxic person in America, which I agree with him. He's 100% right about that. Yes, politically toxic because he is crazy with a capital C. Just go to Twitter, go to X, and follow him. Listen to the things that he says.
He goes down so many roads that are unconstitutional. It doesn't take long to take it apart and basically point out, you don't know what you're talking about.
And this is a Democrat Party that sits at 31% approval rate in America. 31%.
I mean, you can go back to the stuff I was tweeting in 2020, 2021, and you can always say the same thing. You're uncaring about COVID. You're trying to kill grandma. But you know what you can't say? That it's unconstitutional. Because everything I brought up was always constitutional. Now, you chose, if you didn't agree with it, to take the Constitution and wipe your butt with it. Okay? I did not. I was continuing what was constitutionally sound. That is where we're totally different. And the fact that you went with David Hogue, who basically screws up the Constitution on a regular basis in the interest of politics, and you think that's going to work going forward? Like, you're trying to become more manly on the Democrat side. You picked a lady man.
Fail. That's what that is. It's called failing.
I mean, Tim Walz was already like error number 1. And then you decided, like, okay, I get it. He kind of comes across as a closeted homosexual, even though he's married. But whatever, it's just allegations. Then you went ahead and picked out a guy who couldn't be more lady manish. I mean, granted, I like umbrellas in my drinks. All right? Like, I like girly drinks. Outside of that, for the most part, you're going to be like, well, he's pretty much a dude.
Outside of his girly drinks.
Outside of my girly drinks. And, listen, I would love somebody to massage my feet. Whatever. Okay. No manicures, pedicures, whatever. David Hogue is a lady man across the board. All of it. Everything. And you think that's how you're going to reach middle America again? That dude who's typically a Democrat voter who lives in Nebraska or Wyoming or North Dakota, South Dakota?
It's so relatable. David Hogue's so relatable.
No chance.
To everyday dudes.
Thank you. Thank you that you continue to do this stuff.
And then to add to it, the New York Times says, quote, we have no coherent message as the Democrats struggle to oppose Donald Trump because he continues to win. He continues to deliver on promises that he made during the campaign. This is the one person, whether you like him or not, you may hate what he campaigned on, but the one thing you can't say is that he's not delivering on the promises that he made. You cannot make that accusation.
No, credit to him. He has told us, he's been very transparent. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's how it's going to be. Donald Trump, and this is the issue that he has as a politician. Many politicians will make you a lot of promises. Then, as they center during the campaign, they make you more promises, and then they don't deliver on any of them. Or they deliver on just a handful when it comes to their particular side. Everything Donald Trump has done, he brought up during the campaign.
Was it David, the new VP of the Democrat Party, VP, Vice Presidential Chairman?
The Vice Chair of the DNC.
Was he not the one that said, how many AK or AR-14s did Jesus have? Is he the one that posted that? Because I feel like it was. And then someone responded underneath him, and this was a few years ago, not enough to have his government not kill him.
Yes.
Which was so brilliant. And it sticks with me today. That's why I feel like it was him that made that statement. And the reply was a grand slam, and it fits, and it still works today.
That guy gets regularly trampled on X because of what he says, because he's leaving the barn door open. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. And now, that's been the issue with the Democrat Party. They bring up issues, and they leave the back door open. They don't cover themselves.
Ever.
And so mainstream America looks at him very simply and says, you don't make any sense. What are you possibly talking about?
And trying to elect their chair, they put it on display that they made no sense. They couldn't even explain their own rules.
Like, I would think to myself, Elizabeth Warren. Senator Elizabeth Warren can never have a discussion about entitlement. She can never tell you about what it's like to be a minority in America, because she used fake minority status in order to gain positions over the course of her entire life. And then when it was caught and they did DNA testing, they're like,
hey, liar.
Why are you
lying so much?
Less than 1% when it comes to being Indian? You told everybody that you were a Native American.
And you check the boxes every time you got an opportunity.
Well, Grandma had high cheekbones.
What?
These are the areas where they leave the back door open. And it exposes them as being very fraudulent. David Hogue will be just part of the same system. And I'm here for it because they can't win when they're like this.
Keep it up, and we'll continue winning. And enjoy it because, look, it's cyclical. We won't be in this position forever. We will not.
Enjoy it now while we can.
That's exactly right.
But their bounce back factor is
slow.
not looking good.
It's slow.
Because of what they're doing.
Morning Xtra, Tug and Los, along with board op Captain Goey, Virgin River. When we come back, El Rushbo, he knew way back then that the Democrats' failures, they were going to continue to fail. He knew what we are talking about today. He knew what was going to happen way back when. I'll give you the audio evidence, and it'll be good to hear Rush Limbaugh's voice again here on Xtra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Two monster trades happened over the weekend in the NBA. The first happened on Saturday with five-time All-Star and five-time All-NBA 25-year-old guard Luka Doncic was traded to the LA Lakers for nine-time All-Star and 2020 NBA champion 31-year-old power forward Anthony Davis. The second trade happened yesterday in a three-team deal that sent 29-year-old shooting guard Zach LaVine to the Kings and 27-year-old point guard De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs, both having great seasons, with LaVine averaging 24 points a game and Fox averaging 25. For Xtra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
Hi, I'm Jaron Solomon from Solomon Brothers Jewelers, here to remind you that Valentine's Day is coming quickly. Are you prepared? If you are looking for the perfect gift this year, come see us at Solomon Brothers Jewelers. We've got the perfect Valentine's Day gifts like beautiful diamond tennis bracelets or diamond stud earrings for 40% off. That's right, you can give the gift of timeless beauty and elegance with a pair of diamond stud earrings or a sparkling tennis bracelet for 40% off. And to make this year even more special, we are giving away a free gold rose with any purchase over $4.99. So say I love you this year with a gift that never goes out of style. Diamonds from Solomon Brothers Jewelers. Come see us at any of our 3 showrooms, find that perfect tennis bracelet or diamond stud earrings, and get a free gold rose with any purchase over $4.99. Solomon Brothers on Peachtree Road in Buckhead, Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, and Fisher Crossing Drive in Sharpsburg. Online at SolomonBrothers.com or on Instagram at Solomon Brothers.
Hey Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House, and now the security riddle of the day. When times get tough, where do you keep your stuff? Answer, in a quality safe from the Safe House, of course. Don't go to a big box store and get a fake safe. That would be as effective as Joe Biden's fake border policy. For over 30 years, the Safe House has been providing the best quality safes on the market. Brands like Browning, Fort Knox, and Champion. And with the largest selection of safes on display in Georgia, we're confident we can help you pick the right safe to fit your needs. So drop by our huge showroom or go to AtlantaSafehouse.com.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPSETC.com.
You may know that ATL Turf Co. has become a leader in artificial grass design and installation services, but you may not know that ATL Turf Co. is a large artificial grass distributor. We only sell U.S.-made, premium name brand turf at factory direct pricing below wholesale. And now we're open to the public with large inventories of lawn and landscape, putting green, athletic, and pet turf on sale. Plus, all remnants are on sale for only $1 per square foot, direct from Dalton to our warehouse in Kennesaw. Visit atlturfco.com to learn more. atlturfco.com.
STF Pro LLC has an opening for a billing specialist in Atlanta, Georgia, and any unanticipated locations throughout the U.S. Job code GB0125. Serve as a key member of the AP team, playing a significant role in the accuracy and speedy processing of billing activities. Requires high school or foreign degree equivalent and 1 year experience in the job offered as a billing specialist or financial analyst. Salary from $37,648 to $43,098 per year. Mail resume to Diana Ladino at 1775 The Exchange, Suite 130, Atlanta, Georgia 30339.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Extra 106.3 is the only station in Atlanta to bring you the legend Neil Vortz, a live and local news talk show on your ride in, and the Kimmer Show every afternoon. Be here at 3 for the Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder, only on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Oh my gosh, this day has gone by so quickly. The last 30 minutes did not drag, Joe. I just brought it up.
Still have 15.
Okay. I'm just telling you how this day has been great. It's been a terrific
We've
Monday.
had a lot of stuff to deal with.
Shoot, yeah, we have. And we've dealt with it accordingly. I would give us a good grade on today. 404-741-1230 if you would like to also give us a good grade.
Listen, a C.
If you do not, don't call.
Does get us out of the building.
That's right.
With a passing grade.
That's right.
C's get degrees.
That's what I'm told.
Well, it's actually D's. D's to degrees.
Oh, yeah. Either one, though, really.
But
I mean, either one would work.
Yeah.
D's?
Yeah, a D is not an F.
D's not.
Seriously, that's where you went with that.
You turned into 10-year-old boy.
I'm not above D's jokes.
But 15 minutes before the show,
I had to lower the letter grade just a little bit.
Now
we're borderline F.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid do not respond to that.
I'll turn my mic off.
Thank you, please.
Don't worry.
Yes.
I can't believe he offered a D's joke.
Yes. That's what we have to deal with sometimes. I mean, so.
What do you think about D's?
Nothing. I don't think anything about it.
There's one guy, and the video's been out there on the internet for a while. He starts laughing. He goes, "Got him! Got him!" I'm like, okay, that works on me every time.
Yes, it does. It's funny. It is. It's never not funny. It's just the timing. Timing needs to be right. You know, and Joe, you chose poor timing.
Yes, the timing was not correct there.
Yeah, horrible timing.
It's almost like, I lost my grandmother and you made a grandma joke like the day of.
It's exactly that. That's almost identical.
Time and
to what
place.
happened.
Time and place, that's all.
And your timing is terrible, Joseph.
Hey, your grandma's dead.
So bad. It's just when you say it like that, I can't help it. Anyway, El Rushbo.
Sorry to make it awkward on you, too.
El Rushbo, how awesome is it when you can hear the wisdom of Rush Limbaugh from like the 90s? Well, this was definitely in the 90s when he had the TV show. And he was amazing. And he told you right from wrong. He was so far ahead of the curve. It was uncanny, his ability to understand what the Democrats were trying to do and show you what they were trying to do. And I want you to hear this. He knew what was going to happen with the Democrat Party, and you saw it summed up when they were trying to elect the new chairman. They couldn't figure out how the voting would go because there was too many stipulations.
They couldn't get their own rules straight.
That's right. Gender, non-binary, man, woman. They had no idea. And finally, they stumbled through it. They handed it off 2 or 3 times to 2 or 3 different people, and none of them could answer what they could vote on or couldn't.
This is why they can't be funny. This is why the comedy doesn't work, because there's so many rules, so many things you have to jump through, so many hoops, that you have to run everything through a multitude of filters to figure out, okay, what can I say and what I can't say.
And you have to filter out common sense. That's the only one that will not apply. Listen to El Rushbo from ways back. This will be like music to your ears.
Because I'm wearing these ribbons. I care more than any of you about anything. And these ribbons say so. I want you people sitting at home and you people in the audience, look down at your lapel right now. I want you to do this. Put the camera back on me. Do this. When you look down, what do you see? You don't see anything because you're not wearing any ribbons. It means you're a bigot. It means you're a racist. It means you're a sexist. It means you're a homophobe. It probably means you're a white guy. It probably means you're a European. And you alone are responsible for all the ills of America. But I'm not, because I'm wearing these ribbons. I care more than you.
So brilliant. He knew what was coming. He knew what was happening right now. That's like 30 years ago, and he had already figured it out.
Did you ever see, and I was not a fan, I was not like a big version of a person who would watch the show, but I do like this episode and this piece of video. Did you ever see Seinfeld when Kramer decides to take part in the AIDS walk, but he won't wear the ribbon?
Yes. And
what do?
Yeah.
They attack him.
They attack him. They shun him.
It's like, why don't you wear the ribbon? He's like, I just don't wear ribbons.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what are you for AIDS? No, well, no, I'm here. I'm part of the walk. I'm here.
Doesn't matter.
I'm giving my time. I'm showing
enough.
my support. But you didn't wear the ribbon, which the ribbon
is the signal.
It's the least amount of things.
No, right, but that's the signal.
But this is where we saw this, and the most recent example has been COVID. I wear the mask.
That's right.
As an identifier that I care more than you do, even though it's statistically insignificant. But I'm showing you by covering my face how serious I am about this issue. It does not matter. Bo, what does it look? I have this. I care more than you do.
And you still see people doing it now, which is the crazy thing.
Rush Limbaugh is bringing up ribbons. I'm showing you that what I care about with ribbons, not with time, not with money, with ribbons.
And he had, I think, 6 or 8 different ribbons, all pinned to the lapel. One was blue, one was yellow, one was red, one was green, one was orange, one was purple. A rack of ribbons. It looked like if you were in the military and you had a rack of ribbons like that, they would salute you as you walked by. Those ribbons meant nothing. His whole point was, I don't care about any of this stuff. But since I show that I do, I get a pass.
You probably were not messed up like I was as a kid.
Wow.
You were much more squared away.
Wow, how about that?
So what I would do is every single summer, I'd go to baseball practice. I remember being 11, 12 years old. I'd go to baseball practice. I'd get home about 9:30, take a shower. I'd play X-Wing versus TIE Fighter for about 3-4 hours on my computer, which I had built because I'm super nerd like that.
Jeez, I was never able to do any of that.
And then about 3 o'clock in the morning, and this would get ready to go to bed, but now it's near that time. That was when the Rush Limbaugh show would come on locally in San Antonio. 3 o'clock in the morning.
They had to bury it.
Yes, is when they would air it. And I would actually make it a point to turn it on because I'd heard the name and I want to know what this thing was about. And what struck me, even as a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, 13-year-old, was that it made sense. That was the hook.
Draw. Yeah.
That was the draw. Like it became counterculture to make sense. And I made my mom buy me the book, The Way Things Ought to Be. I asked her, I'm like, can we buy The Way Things Ought to Be? And she's like, okay. And she wasn't threatened by it. She was like, okay. But she didn't know that it was because 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm watching the Rush Limbaugh show and saying, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. If you recall, I said Donald Trump was the countercultural candidate because the entire mainstream, the people raging against the machine, quote unquote, they were wrong in everything that they chose. They were wrong in everything that they said, but you better listen to them, which created this opening for people who are like, I don't agree with any of that, to jump on the Trump train, if you will. People that you would have never expected to be a Trump voter because the mainstream was feeding you this information that was faulty, that was no good. And they said, if you don't follow it, you're not good either. So it gave people the opportunity to go, I don't believe in any of that. And I think I like this guy that says he doesn't believe in any of it either.
And now we are wearing that moniker. When the news media goes like, well, y'all are just bad people. I'm like, fine, yeah, I'm a bad person.
It's the badge.
I'm like, cool.
Pin it to my shirt.
Because you know what? I've always been, common sense man. But being that you took common sense and you turned it into a bad thing, I'm like, okay, cool. Call me all the things you want to call me. Yes, I'm common sense Hitler. All right? I don't mind that. Like, oh, this guy's made of Hitler. It's common sense. All right, I'm common sense Hitler. Okay, fine. But that's the deal. It's that we have now bought into where none of the things they say, especially in the news media, when they try and paint people that are all for common sense, that are all for things that we know that work within an economy and work within a society, we don't have to apologize for them anymore.
It's like third grade. Call me anything you want to. I remember in third grade, they was like, you can say that about me. I don't care. I'm rubber. You're glue. It bounces off me, sticks to you.
I'll tell you, every single one of these economies,
every time.
When we see this in an economy, tariffs coupled with tax cuts, coupled with spending cuts. Watch what happens.
Absolutely.
It's so easy.
You're about to see an explosion.
It is not hard to ignite an American economy. It is so easy that a dumbass can do it. And if you consider Trump a dumbass, then fine. It is that easy to ignite an American economy. You will ask yourself this one question: why don't the Democrats do it? And then you'll have your answer.
So easy. And Trump is making it look easy. And he is off to an incredible start. Tomorrow, 21 days that he's been in office. He's done more than Joe Biden and the Democrats did in 4 years. Minus the 4 years that Trump was in the first time. Gosh, 12 years. Maybe even more than that. Donald Trump is doing something that nobody has been able to do or willing to do. And I'm here for it. That's what I voted for. Tear it all down. USAID, gone. Good. The money that they're sending to these corrupt NGOs, gone. Good. And there are billions and billions and billions of dollars. And I'm so glad that somebody's willing and brave enough to tackle it in the face of extreme opposition.
I think you're dealing with D's.
D's nuts. No. Thank you. All right, that'll do it for us. We've been childish enough. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Got him.
Hey, it's Flounder, and the Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
Ty tweeted, "I'd rather not entrust space travel to a guy who does a Nazi salute." To which EB responded by tweeting a pic of NASA rocket scientist Werner von Braun standing in front of models of his Saturn rockets with the caption, "Boy, do I have news for you."
An actual Nazi.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.